Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to round 3 of the 2023 RaceFactory Gaming National Championship live here on Start Your Systems. I'm Kellen Brower. This is my wife, Hannah, and that's Andrew Wood right over there. We're going to be all here tonight for a little bit. Hannah's only going to be here for a few moments, but just wanted to start off the stream by giving a big congratulations, I guess, to you and to us. We've hit 5 years married together, and just want to give a big thank you to her. Because without her, these streams wouldn't be possible. She's the one that watches our daughter every single week that we do these streams. So, yeah, thanks. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Do you have anything you'd like to say to the loyal fans at home?
Let's go racing!
Yeah, all right. Well, I love you, and I guess I'll see you in 3.5 hours. But that's how we're starting off the stream here tonight. A little bit of fun in that regard. And Andrew Wood is back here tonight. So, Wood, missed the first 2 rounds, a little back injury, a little bit on the injured list. But how we feeling tonight, man? You all right?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm ready to be back. Missed the racing that we've been able to, cover all the year so far through Supercross. Finally ready to be back for outdoors. And I'm excited. Lakewood's always a great track. So it's going to be a really good time tonight. And hopefully we see some good racing. I've kind of popped in a couple races here and there trying to see what's up. So it's been intense, but wow, looking at these qualifying times, I don't know. Payson Johnson hasn't stopped being fast with all his time off in Supercross.
Definitely not. Let's roll into those qualifying times as you mentioned right there. Here they are on your screen now. The 450 motocross class here at Thunder Valley, and Payson Johnson. I mean, it's not really a surprise that he went fastest. It's pretty typical, but man, 1.6 seconds faster than anybody. Pablo Vial right there with Tyler Lang pretty close in times. Is this setting up for a little bit of a runaway for Payson tonight, or are we going to see some battling?
I mean, you can't really count out anyone, but I mean, outdoors, I do feel like the guys can be a little bit closer to their hot lap times consistently. So it could be a pretty big problem seeing a big gap there all the way down to Leclerc, Eaglin, and Carter. T Lang, though, has been really good as well. 1.3 seconds, not too big a gap, though, to be, I mean, I think they got it. Payson's going to be hard to beat, though. He always is, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so we'll see what Payson is capable of, and we'll roll into the 250 motocross qualifying times here to start off the night. Take a look at our current championship leader, still Seth Shirley there with a 209.6, 209.8, 209.9, 210 flat. Pretty close times here in this 250 class. It's almost like real life in that regard, where we see a lot more variance with who's going to be fastest each week in the 250 class versus Payson always being fast in 450s.
Yeah, I mean, the 250 time's a lot closer, too. I feel like we see a lot slower, though, compared to the 450s with all these hills that you got, a couple big jumps and stuff. So it will be interesting. Hopefully, we see a lot of really close racing between these 250 guys. They're a little bit looser than the 450 class as well. I'm super excited to see this with seeing how close the lap times are, especially within the top 10.
All right, so that's our qualifying times here to start off tonight. Let's quickly give you guys an update on the standings. After 2 rounds of this championship, Alexis Leclerc, our new championship leader after winning last week at Hangtown, 5 up on Payson Johnson. Braden Carter winning that second moto, now only 6 down. Starting to turn into a little bit of a runaway there, but we've already had 4 different moto winners in 4 tries. And Cooper Hunt, Tyler Lang, Pablo Vial, more guys like that hoping to get in the mix. 250 standings, though. Seth Shirley up by 7 points on Braden Tharps and Seth Carr 9 back. You got Cade Matherly 13 back after winning last week at Hangtown as well. So a nice mix at the front. And then our defending champion, Logan Leitzel, still just 17 back despite a pretty rough week last time out at Hangtown. So that's kind of our synopsis of rolling into the evening. So let's jump in the server and check things out, as it looks like we're going to have our consolation races getting going here any moment. And always fun to start off with Consi's A-Wood, because it's basically like a last chance qualifier in Supercross. We get those 4 guys trying to make it through, and it turns into a death battle quick.
Yeah, I mean, the best race of the night to start off your night is one of my favorite parts about the motocross series that we get to commentate each and every year. And I mean, it's just these guys are putting their life on the line, right? They tried to qualify. They weren't able to put in the lap time that they wanted to. So it's always a little bit loose. But man, these guys are fighting, and you can get in through the consi. Maybe you didn't have enough time on the track. Maybe you didn't figure some things out. You learn some more race lines. You get in and you can, be up there. You're still trying to score some points, get a good finish. So really fun, especially on the track like this. So many alternate lines. It's really hard in qualifying to kind of figure out how the lines develop as the racing goes on, and kind of figure it out in the short amount of time that you have in qualifying. So maybe these guys can figure it out and get kind of up on the level of the guys who have already made it in.
Yeah, and it also gives us a nice kind of early chance to see what this track race is like before we see the main motos start and kind of get a little bit of an idea. So Right now, these guys, I believe, are still on their reconnaissance lap. I don't think we've started the consolation race just yet, but this will be 250 Consi race. Let me actually get the tab open on that one so that you guys can tell which race is currently on the screen. But these guys are going to, like we said, go 4 laps. Top 4 riders transfer through to the motos. So Nick Niles, Dominic Paolini, Justin Adams, Joey Bradstreet, Taylor Bell, Nick Thomasounas, Temi Briscoe, Austin Partolo, Evan Cormack, Hayden Grimes, Jack Lee, Tyson Parliament, Talon Zollers, Reese Harris, Ryan Swanson, Will Canal, Jace Williams, Will Clark, Bodie Parker, Carl Novak. Man, there's so many guys in these early season Consi competitions. Certainly going to get real interesting here real fast.
Yeah, I mean, late kind of in the season, you expect the field starts to kind of thin out, right? People have kind of faded off. If you're not making it through, 8, 9 rounds, are you going to keep doing the last couple? But, I mean, you pretty much got a full gate of 40 guys here, so you got a 1 in 10 shot to make it. It really comes down to start dependent, and especially on the 250s with this uphill start at Lakewood, it's very, very difficult for these guys. So going to be a very start dependent here, but you gotta be able to hold it on through the couple laps that you're racing this Consi. And I mean, just because you get a start doesn't mean you can finish it with all these big downhills in this crazy track.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about Thunder Valley is the elevation comes into play in real life, and though there is no elevation that could restrict the bikes in this game, they do make the soil a little bit deeper to compensate for that. So here we go, 250 consolation race is underway. We got guys all mixed out throughout the gate. And into this first corner, it looks like up the inside, it might be Niles coming through on the inside, trying to get that whole shot. It is Niles just by a nose. Thomasounas on the 79 down the inside, trying to get the lead. Oh, we got a rider going down, and Thomasounas actually slid off the inside of the track. So Niles going to lead us on that first big uphill double. Zollers right here in the mix with Race Cobble, Paolini. Briscoe trying to shoot the gap, make it 3 wide on the big uphill. And meanwhile, up front, Zollers is trying to go for the lead on the big downhill as he crosses over and takes it.
Yeah, he gets him. I don't really know what happened on that little uphill there before that kind of Hollywood sign turn, it feels like, where you jump back down. But Zoller's just able to make it happen and get the wheel in front, and just like that, kind of starting to drop these guys. Zoller's trying to get out here and just kind of take control of the lead early on. Everyone else kind of thinning out a little bit behind him. A little bit different track here too, layout. I like this layout a little bit more open than the last couple of years, it seems.
Yeah, we'll see what Zollers is able to do with this early lead, and certainly navigating through a really tricky tight section here at this Thunder Valley racetrack as they cut that hillside in half, more or less, with that little double. And man, I'll tell you what, those ruts are already looking super deep, and we are just in our first race of the night here. But Zoller's a guy that in Supercross competed in that 250 East division for the championship. In some regard, he wasn't always in the mix, and I think he ended up 4th in those standings. So to see him in the consolation race, a little bit of an eye-opener. But again, a lot of these times, we saw Jack Haley, for example, at the consolation race at the Fox Raceway opener. I think sometimes these guys, they just don't get a lap in time, or it's only, one session that they do, and it's a bad lap time, and they end up in this one. And the consolation race is where they really show their skill set.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to know when you're not, talking to the guys following, whether they didn't have enough time to prepare, real life got in the way, or if they just aren't as kind of settled in on motocross as they would like to be, not learning some of these tracks quick enough. So it's hard to know exactly where they're coming from, but you can kind of tell as you go through. As he goes for the big wheel tap.
Yeah. And behind him, Briscoe went down as well. So those guys trying to go for that big wall tap line, not working for them thus far. And it's going to be Cobble who takes the lead to complete lap number 1. Zollers slips back to 2nd. And Justin Adams now moves to 3rd as Briscoe picks it up, still in that final transfer spot. But look at this battle right here. Niles, Cormac, Partolo, Will Clark on the outside. You have Canal there on the Yamaha on the inside as Partolo goes up the inside and Niles puts a block pass on him. And this is all not even for transfer spot. This is 5 through 9 on the track.
Yeah, just outside the transfer spot. But you're fighting, slicing, and dicing, right? Because you want to be the first person to be there. These races are very short. And especially with these outdoor tracks, if you get yourself a little bit of a gap, you can kind of try to run away from those guys. There's so many option lines, but when you get in that close, there's people in every single line, as you see there. One the inside, one in the middle rut, and there's still 2 more available. So Cormac's trying to kind of get away from him right here. Had a decent little line there on the outside, but actually didn't pull away too much. So we're going to have to see what happens as they get up in these tight sections. Everyone's kind of picking and choosing their ruts, and you can kind of work your way around. And man, guys can gain a lot right there as we see him rail the inside line. Cormac's got some trouble right here.
Yeah, that's Partolo giving him the business, and he's going to have the inside line right here as they cross over, nearly contact. and it pushes him out. Cormac going over those ruts, and Parlo takes the spot, but this is still just 5th place. They're trying to get up to Justin Adams, who now occupies that final transfer position. Timmy Briscoe was able to slip by. He's now into 3rd position. So Adams trying to hold on, and actually going down is Cobble. That's our leader, picking it up, still in 4th, but might lose it right here. Down the inside goes Parlo, and Parlo gets it done, but cutting back up underneath right there. Side by side over the big triple. Cobble trying to get it. He does clear it, and he retains that 4th position. But you can see just with how much roll resistance they put in the soil of this racetrack, it feels like we're riding at elevation because these guys cannot get that triple.
Yeah, I mean, even without that, as we see Parlo going down, not completely off the bike, but losing the rear end there over a rut. But these guys, there's so many hills up and down these guys, especially on the 250. Just you're kind of trying to drag race up basically a wall for that big triple there. Most of this, there's only a couple flat sections like we see here on this track. Other than that, you're going uphill, downhill, off camber, all sorts of stuff. So it's really difficult. This track, I had a couple good races on, but as it started to get rougher with the road, it was never really good with it. And Cormac goes down. He actually gets into someone outside of him too. So gonna have to see what happens here as we see Will Clark now checking in with the 4th place spot. You see he clips that big thing, tries to triple off. Is that Briscoe behind him?
I think it was Niles maybe that went down, and Parlo is going to move forward. So Clark back into that final transfer spot. Our front 3 starting to pull away a little bit here. So to reset things here on the 3rd lap of the race now, it is still Zollers leading, going up the big uphill here on lap 3. Timmy Briscoe in 2nd. Justin Adams right there is in 3rd. And here is that battle for the 4th and final transfer spot between Will Clark and Austin Parlo. Parlo will just not go away. It doesn't matter how many times he makes a mistake or hits the ground. He's trying to go forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's showing that speed there. Not so much there. I thought he was going to scrub, kind of took the high line there. But look at this drive he's getting coming up the hill here. About to make 2 passes if he can get there.
Yeah, that's Briscoe on the 309 down the inside, who's slipping back to 4th now as Clark goes by. 3 different lines being used right here. Which one is going to work the best?
Such a good shot.
Oh, Briscoe is going to cut over and block the line.
Look at Parlo on the outside.
Yep, through that outside line. Gets a great drive and jumps back into the 4th position. So it's Briscoe from Parlo now, with Will Clark just bringing up the rear of this little train. But anyone could have a mistake right here, and Clark could get back into position.
Man,
just like that. Clark up to the inside, get that rut hooked nicely, and he will get back by Parlo. Parlo shooting down the outside, might get it back anyway. It's so tough to tell because, like you said, so much off camber and elevation to this racetrack. Never really know which line's the better one.
Yeah, and those outsides are so far out there. The guys, they look like they're ripping around it, but they're barely gaining any time just because outside is so much further than inside, especially when you got...
Oh! Clark lands on Parlo, and around the outside comes Jace Williams into the final transfer spot. So just like that, the entire complexion of this battle has turned upside down, and still Parlo, despite landing on someone, is right there in 5th trying to go for it.
He is loose. I love his... reminds me of my style a little bit, just kind of hauling around but being super loose. He looks like he's going to crash at any moment. He's made a lot of big mistakes, but just like that, he's trying to cut up the inside. Does he get the drive? He's going to go for the inside line. Legs over and finally goes off the bike.
Hits that SpongeBob with his head and an instant legs off crash.
Killed me about 50 times before. That inside rut is so close to that. It is off the track, though. You can't blame the SpongeBob for you running off the track. But, man, just like that, Parlo, he's just kind of all over the place. He looks like he's got that speed, but just a little bit too loose here. And, man, it's just, these guys are all over the place. But, I mean, this race isn't over. White flag came out, so 1 full lap left. You know, about 2 minutes left for these guys to race around. He's only 1 spot out. He's only 6 seconds off of that. So if he throws down a heater, one of these guys has 1 problem.
Well, it looks like someone might be down right here. It is. It's Briscoe picking it up, and he's also going to lose a spot to Will Clark. So Parlo now is in that final transfer spot. 3 riders right behind him still hoping to make it through. It's Will Clark, Timmy Briscoe, and Evan Cormac coming up through this first turn complex. But now it is up to Parlo to not be the sendy one and instead try to play defense here on this final lap.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of realize where you're at, the position you're at, and the gap you have behind you, and just really settle yourself down. That's the hardest part, too. You got a lot of nerves. You're in the last transfer spot. It's out of 40 people now instead of 20, trying to get in that main 22, just like in the Supercross series. But, man, you got to just kind of settle down and try to calm those nerves, take some deep breaths. This is probably going to be the hardest part of the track. This next kind of 20 seconds for him when you're going back and forth through here, especially with his riding style. Like I said, which feels like mine, I would hate these sections here. I already hate those slot car ruts, but when you're going off camber, on camber, back and forth, trying to stick that line, it's really difficult for these guys. He's just got to kind of settle it down and go about 3/4 the speed of what he was going to do.
Oh, Jace Williams was down. And now it was Williams who slips back to 4th, but he's going to lose that spot right away. Will Clark has slipped by. So Clark now in the 4th and final transfer position. And it's up to Jace Williams to do the chasing. So Zoller's 18 seconds in the lead. Adams 2nd. Partillo now 3rd. And then this battle here is Will Clark goes nose high, cases it. Oh, and Williams actually got it pretty clean. And he's got a beautiful inside line that crossover. Oh, and a takeout. Will Clark knifed the front end and jumped over 2 ruts to the left and took Williams down. Well, that's one way to strategize to get yourself into the motos right there.
I mean, that was impressive right there. You're tucking the front, you're about to go down, save yourself, and the second I saw him tucking like that and it kind of knifed back, I knew it was going to be bad news for Jace. But Will Clark able to kind of keep it on 2 wheels, got a little bit lucky there, but now it's his turn. Just sit there in 4th, kind of keep it riding smooth and run this thing to the checker flag. Talon Zollers already came across 15 seconds ahead of Justin Adams, who's trying to finish in Partillo as well, and then Clark then 6 seconds back to Cormac. So going to be interesting if he can just kind of bring it on home as Austin Partillo, man. Eventful race, but comes home in 3rd.
Yep, and Will Clark through the final turn is going to hook that inside rut and head to the main motos with that 4th and final transfer spot. Quite the eventful last few laps right there in this 250 consolation race. Cormac, first person out. Dominic Paolini, Taylor Bell, Nick Niles, Carl Novak, Reese Harris, Jace Williams. Looks like he disconnected in the very next corner after that takeout, so it wasn't too thrilled. Oh, and Briscoe, who was in those transfer spots, he's also not going to finish this one. Hayden Grimes, Will Canal, Joey Bradstreet, Tyson Parliament. I love how you can tell he was mid-crash and was like, my night's over. We're going to pack it up right now. Just instant disconnect. Jack Lee,
Ron Swanson as well.
Yeah, Race Cobbles down in this corner over here. You got
all of these guys are wadded.
Track.
Didn't even wait to stand back up.
It's like what is it? The lens flares just keeping receipts out here right now. Just making sure those reflections are showing all the way through. Yeah. As Harris now, he missed the finish line. He just hooked a left on the face. He's got to come back and finish this thing off. So Reese Harris,
we got to get those cuts.
Will be our last finisher. Let's take a look. It seems like it all stayed the same, and it did. Zollers with the win, along with Adams, Partillo, and Clark going through to the main motos to kick things off here tonight at Thunder Valley. Woo!
Yeah, Zollers definitely looks like he maybe just had a rough qualifying time or something like that. Maybe didn't have enough time to really put in some laps. I mean, 16 seconds out front, those guys were making a lot of mistakes. It's going to be interesting to see where he slots in. Kind of got to remember to check in on him sometime through the first 250 moto and kind of see where he ends up. But I mean, very eventful consolation races.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one so far to kick off the night. Hopefully we have another one, a good one coming up here in the 450 class. And just double checking a few things in my Discord. But yeah, 450 consolation race coming up next. You're currently back in studio with myself, Callum Brower, Andrew Wood sitting here and just trying to do a little bit more of this intermission chat, trying to see what the chat room is talking about. And yeah, just hanging out with the fans a little bit more because, hey, if you weren't with us last week, we're no longer the AMA championship that we were. If you missed it, the Init Esports and RaceFactory Gaming relationship has now been severed, so those ties are gone, and this is just the RaceFactory Gaming Nationals again. But I feel like for us, what it means we can loosen back up a little bit. We're not on TV anymore. We can come out here and have some drinks and yell dualies and all that
Kellen
stuff.
told me I can do whatever I want. So
whatever.
As this series starts to get going, if I'm able to keep making it in every Wednesday, it's gonna get loose. But man, let's see what we've got in store for this 450 consi. See if any of the big old guys that like to get crazy kind of ended up here. It's always interesting to see who, when you don't really check all the way back in qualifying because there's 70 dudes trying to qualify for the 40 spots, you sometimes end up with a couple surprise names. So a little BPC there, Kyler Smith, McIntosh, Zach Fisher, Jet Wisdom, Doo-Doo, Gary Laser Eyes. He sounds scary. I'd be watching out for him with Porcell's number. You better watch out for that dude.
10-year anniversary of the Jeff Alessi laser too is coming up. So. Ethan Olson. We also got Jack Fowler. Ethan Parks, man, letting the SYS Heckman Prod team down. Gotta get in the motos there, Sunshine. So let's see what happens as we get ready to drop the gate on the consolation race. It's also going to be fun to see if these 450 guys have kind of the similar issues we saw at the 250 class. Can I send my OnlyFans? I don't got one. Do not have an OnlyFans. Sorry.
Venmo and we'll hit you up personally.
Yeah, if you want to go down to the Streamlabs link in the chat below and donate, though,
you might get a spicy DM or two.
I'm gonna say no because there's probably viewers younger than the age of 18. So, but you know, maybe I'll send like cool pictures from the track. Like maybe that's what I should do. I should start a Patreon, and any Patreon supporters, like, I'll take fun, interesting pictures at the racetrack.
Yeah,
like
just like behind the
stuff.
scenes of some riders, maybe in the truck or something.
Yeah.
Nothing revealing anything, but
yeah, because at least that way, then it's like it's a little bit more exclusive content. Like I could do that now just on my main Instagram page, but maybe
or even like close friends on Instagram or something, you know, so that you kind of add those people to it, so you could still post stuff and then.
We'll think about that.
Let's make some money.
Oh,
how much wood you pay?
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Probably a lot. Think of all the trees they got.
Oh man. All right, here we go, folks. It's the 450 consolation race. That track crew member, which is holding on to that 30 card, will turn it sideways, run himself off the racetrack, and 13 riders are going for 4 spots. Let's find out who makes it through. 450 Consi underway at Thunder Valley. Up that big uphill they go. Who's going to get to the corner first? It's a Yamaha. It's McIntosh right there through the inside and down on the 45. Rips the whole shot. It's got Keegan Riley up the inside trying to take the lead, and Riley will. Nice move by the BFC TM Factory Racing Machine. Zach Fisher, Liquor Grain also up here on the 317 with the inverted relic Honda. Kyler Smith in the top 4. So good mix, and down goes our leader as he drags his face on the ground. Keegan Riley's down, and he's bringing a few guys with him. We got Blake O'Brien and Jet Wisdom also on the deck up at the top of the hill right here. So some early struggles for those guys. Now it is all Rogan, MacBook, Macintosh Computer, Covenant 45 out front leading this thing.
Yeah, a couple of guys kind of going down there early, but I mean, that early in the consolation race, you still got some time to keep fighting back, so it's not really over right then, especially when you only got 13 guys total. But Rogan McIntosh actually losing this position there to our inverted relic Honda rider. I don't know his name.
Oh, sorry.
Kyler Smith, but he's trying to take it back up the inside. Let's see, he's going to have the inside, or no, he's not. Can't keep track of these. Dude, I don't know where this track goes. It does the same thing like twice. Oh, big backflip, and he's not going to make it. McIntosh
with the death, dude. He went for the backflip, double pits to Chesty, and now he's on the ground. You hate to see it. So Zach Fisher moves into second, Riley third, and Simos now up into fourth as we got Ethan Olson dragging his face on the ground. Now no one wants to stay up in these top spots. And speaking of Ethan Parks just got absolutely roasted. Rogan McIntosh cut up underneath of him like sliced bread and made a nice pass right there.
Outside.
Beautiful. Dualies? Oh, no. Zach Riley's just going deep off the side of the track over here. Oh, re-entering.
This is how you know these guys are in the Consi race. Look
at this battle. I don't think any of these guys... Well, Gary Laser Eyes is in transfer, but look at this chaos right here, man. Any one of these guys can make it through.
Yeah, I mean, Laser Eyes here. He's got the outside line. Looks like Richie's going to come up the inside. That's definitely the preferred line here. Richie's going to go a little bit wide, take that spot easily. Do they go for this big jump over? No, neither of them do.
Oh, McIntosh!
He gets murdered from behind from McIntosh. A complete liability out here, facing backflips, taking out people doing the hotlines, and just like that, he's up in the 5th spot, 1 out from the transfer spot.
I hope Gary Laser Eyes got some eyes in the back of his head, dude, because we got Torpedo back here. Look like Daniel Kvyat in Formula 1 coming up hot, ready to take out Gary Laser Eyes for this 4th and final transfer spot. So let's see if he can do it. Let's see if he goes for the dive bomb, or will he settle in and try to make a clean pass?
Oh, dude, he's in a bad spot. Oh no, click third, hold forward.
It's a slow grind up the hill. He's going to lose 2, maybe 3 spots. Yep, 3. TM rider of Ethan Olson is going to go by. So McIntosh and Parks made it through. Parks is now in the final transfer spot. Yeah, so let's go on board with McIntosh and see what it's like to follow Ethan Parks around this Thunder Valley racetrack.
Going to be a lot of bumps in ruts, turning that are not fun, but that's, you know, that's what Lakewood's like around here. Railing these outsides, though, can they hold him? Yes, they can. Rogan McIntosh going around the outside. Looks like he's going to hit this 3rd rut. He's not going to be on the inside. No, yes, he is. God dang it, dude.
Poor Haywood.
It turns all the opposite ways it used to. Oh my gosh. McIntosh here, though, trying to make this work. Look at this inside-outside. Now they're gaining up on their third-place rider as well. You can see just how much, even in those tight corners.
Parks off the track.
Parks out there. The outsides are so much further out than the inside. You have to carry about twice as much speed, if not more, just to kind of match the guy on the inside. So it's really difficult here. Parks now, though, on the outside looking in, going deep. Is he going to be able to clear this on the 450?
Oh, dude, he scrubbed it.
Oh, light work. Those 250 guys are slow. Getting a good drive and not able to clear that?
Oh, ridiculous. The McIntosh does move in the final transfer spot, but he still wants a piece of Gary Laser Eyes as he swapped Diddleys into the corner. Let's see if he can gather it up and go up the inside here. Doolies! Laser Eyes not really tossing it as well, though. He's got to pick it up as he goes up the inside. Around the outside goes McIntosh. He's got a great drive to this middle rut right here. Let's see if he goes to the inside down the hill and makes a pass, bouncing across the track, making that pass into third place. Trying to avoid the tough blocks. They're all going through the hay bales like it's nobody's business, looking like Grant Harlan in the first corner of Hangtown out here in the weekend. As we get rolling up the uphill, it's McIntosh tripling over the top, and Parks passes Laser Eyes with the triple over the hill as well.
Yeah, that line definitely looks like something I would do and mess up probably 1 out of every 3 and not make it worth it. But these guys are making it happen here in the Conti. But Laser Eyes right up the inside, goes a little bit deep. Parks does there, and he's able to cut up the inside.
Oh!
Forgot there was a corner there. Did not hit the brakes at all.
He just wanted to make friends with some fans. He was just figuring I'd go launching over the berm and hit him at Mach 12.
What happened there?
Definitely forgot the brakes. So Simos.
There's McIntosh.
Yeah, so
the star
Simos,
of the show.
I know. He's just been all over the board. He's kind of like the Austin Partlо of the 450 class, really.
Yeah, he's trying to be so loose, but always in the transfer spot, so we have to talk about him. 6th place now, though. He's still got 2 to make up, and we're losing time here. Only going to have 2 laps left, but I mean, I guess you got a lot of time, but Ethan Olson here, look at this outside, how much faster he goes.
Tread butt around the outside. Look at that move by Rogan McIntosh. Now, can he close up on Dudu Mutumbino for the 4th spot? Simos on the TDMX 194 trying to hold it down. He's also closing up on Parks, who just went down. Parks is down on the inside. McIntosh goes by. Parks picks it up in the 6th spot as he cuts the line off from Gary Laser Eyes. And down in the corner right there, we got Ethan Olson on the BPC program picking it up as well. So Laser Eyes now going to close it up on Parks, who is in 5th. And they have got to catch up to McIntosh once again if they want to transfer through.
Yeah, I mean, these guys just kind of throwing it away back and forth here. It's kind of hard to keep track a little bit. McIntosh, though, back where he wants to be. So I doubt he'll do many crazy antics here. Ethan Parks tossing it big in the back, but he's going to be chasing as well as Laser Eyes, and they're starting to lose kind of a gap here. So it's going to be up to these guys to kind of make a mistake, or these guys are going to have to drop pretty much a heater for the next lap and a half. So going to keep an eye on this, see if Rogan McIntosh can move up 1 more spot. He's got this uphill, then the over, and then big downhill section before he gets to that big triple over line that he's doing, and I don't think many riders other than him are, so going to be able to see if these guys can keep it going. But just like that, you see it starting to tighten up here a little bit with this 4-5-6 battle.
Yeah,
or 3-4-5.
Yeah, Parks is closing in, and it is Simos in the 3rd spot, McIntosh in the 4th ride right now. But you're right about this triple overline right here. Parks did it last time by to make a pass. Let's see if McIntosh goes for it. He gets that double clean and does just triple over Parks. Oh, I thought he was going to tip it right there. But now they have closed back up to Simos as this white flag is waving. And this is your battle for the final transfer spot right here. McIntosh versus Ethan Parks. And whether or not they could get to Simos or maybe Zach Fisher is up for grabs. But Parks slides out after the finish line jump. He's going to lose at least 1 spot as he gets Gary Laser Eyes to scoot on by him. Now it's up to McIntosh, just like Partlо, to try to hold on to this final transfer spot. Let's see if he can do it. He wants to close down on Simos. Simos wants to go after Zach Fisher, who looks like he's getting the Bonnier Leclerc vibe going on right there. So Kyler Smith leads on the downhill right now. It's Fisher 2nd, Simos 3rd, McIntosh 4th, and then Gary Laser Eyes trying to close it down. Let's go on board and see what he's seeing through those laser eyes in this 5 spot as he tries to close down in this final transfer spot battle.
Yeah, a lot of these guys electing for the smoother outside lines where there's not really as many bumps. You do have to carry about twice as much speed, though, and then look as he goes to the inside, just chop, chop, chop all the way through. Kind of difficult to kind of manage. So these guys, you're going to see them in the higher gear. If you look at the bottom right, fourth and fifth gear as they're going through most of these ruts here. It kind of keeps it a lot smoother. Your suspension settles, but he's going for a lot more of the inside lines around these tight sections though. So kind of interesting to see. Looked like he was staying away from the bumps, but now he's trying to navigate through. Not really gaining any ground though. Looks like he's kind of having a hard time picking his way through, not gaining any time on the two in front of him. That 3 and 4 battle is getting close though. We'll see if McIntosh kind of gets up on the third place rider and if they make any mistakes. But Laser Eyes maybe half a second through all those sections, but you're gonna need a little bit more than that.
I mean,
this next half lap.
This is a death battle going on for 2, 3, 4 on the racetrack. These guys don't even need it, but Simos has gotten around Zach Fisher. McIntosh is now closed up behind him, and you can see Laser Eyes in the background trying to get in this fight now with just a few corners left to go. Well, there's some slight trialies right there as McIntosh decides whether or not he's going to go ejecto Cito Cuz through the front door. He decides he's going to not do that and keep it on 2 wheels as Fisher is going to get caught up here real quick. McIntosh now dealing with Laser Eyes, and McIntosh off the inside loses the transfer spot to Laser Eyes. Now it's going to come down to this triple line, and who will do it? Up front, it looks like Kyler is going to win that race. Kyler Smith wins on the 419. McIntosh is going for the line. He tips it. He goes deep, and he goes down. And coming through is Ethan Parks on the outside. He crosses over. He goes for the send, and it's just by a nose going to be Gary Laser Eyes by 1/10 of a second over the line as they pile up after the finish line jump. Parks just misses out. McIntosh with the rage quit galore is out of this moto, and it's going to be Laser Eyes, Fisher, Simos, and Smith going through, we believe, and it does stay that way. No cuts for Laser Eyes. He's into the motos.
Wow, that was an impressive send right there. I thought Ethan Parks was off the berm in that kind of first part of that double apex corner before the finish. He was able to cut back, jump across, hold it wide, but not able to close enough time. Laser Eyes is not Gary Later Eyes. He is now going to make the main. Man, and all these guys just to be 37 through 40 in the motos. So all of this crazy racing, we haven't even gotten to the 4 motos here in the main classes tonight. These guys just trying to fight their way through to make it in. Man, 10-minute race just to get into a 35-minute moto is just so stressful for these guys.
Catch the fever though, man. Like, these guys are doing this all for some entertainment out here tonight. It is all for bragging rights just to make it into these motos. And Gary Laser Eyes putting the factory SYS Heckman Productions ride of Ethan Parks out and into the motos. He is not going through, and he is headed straight back to the semi where he's going to have a stern talking to with team manager Alex Heckman. I'm sure that is going to be a rough one there for Triptez, the Ethan Parks program on the 147. So we'll see what happens with him and whether or not he's still on the team next week. Zach Fisher, Eduardo Simos, and Kyler Smith went 1, 2, 3 in this one with Gary Laser Eyes finishing out in the top 4. Parks, Olsen McIntosh, Riley, Richie, O'Brien, Fowler, Gummison, and Wells with Wisdom not finishing this one in 14th place. So that is our consolation races complete. And it's time to go racing. The 250 Moto 1 coming up next.
Do we know who Laser Eyes is, or just Gary Laser Eyes? Is that the first appearance this season?
I feel it. Well, he did race last week, I think, but it might be Christoph Porcel, right? 377.
I mean, potentially. I mean, there's really no way to know. But man, beating out Ethan Parks like that, he might have to get kicked off the team. When you get embarrassed like that by a Porcel clone, I don't know. Gonna have to definitely talk to Alex Heckman about that. Have a stern talking to at least back in the semi.
Well, we've already got younger Heckman brother Colton Heckman saying that he likes us not caring as much. He likes us with the loose program out here. So the reviews are in. We like it being a little bit looser out here.
I mean, outdoors always ends up that way because it's like way too long of a time to stay focused. Like, that's one of the things that's kind of impressed me with like Stu Outdoors is the fact that, dude, you gotta be locked in for so long. So long to just be doing it, and they're doing it post game show or post race shows, all that stuff, and it's just like, it's tiring sitting here on a couch like commentating this, you know, when you're, I mean, they're in AC and stuff, but dude, it's rough, and then you got all the people yelling in your ears, TV stuff, and out of commercials. Like, it's really impressive when this is nowhere close to live TV, but even this is hard.
Well, Ethan Parks in chat says that we better fire his suspension guy. So I don't know who it is. I'm gonna have to talk to Jim Bones Bacon about that. And
probably
see what's
himself.
Going on. Himself, yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like I talked to an unnamed person who races the 450 class, and I talked to him at Real Life Hangtown this past weekend, and he says he basically just runs an old Braden Carter 250 setup. So I feel like most of these guys, they just dive into the annals of suspension and grab whatever they feel is going to best fit them.
I mean, I used to have like 2020 MX 1, 2, 3, 4 Jack Carter, like all this stuff, stealing them. And then it got to a point where you'd switch it up. I had one Sands setup for Southwick, obviously. And then, because that's all that matters. And then everything else is just, you kind of settle in on one setup. And half the time now, it's just like a MX 2019, setup that like works. And you just kind of figure it out. Like a lot of these guys, unless you're the top, like pinnacle of the sport, you don't need to be switching it up that much, especially if your suspension is actually good. Sometimes it's gimmicky for one track, and it's dumb to have a different setup for every single track. Just get a decent outdoor setup that actually works, and then you can run that on everything. So
yeah, 100%.
MX and SX setup, you're dialed.
Absolutely. Well, Transcend says that we got to stop letting Triptez decide the suspension settings, and Ethan Parks definitely says, yeah, screw that guy. So Triptez, unbelievable. Really, we just got to clean it up. Barbosa MX, by the way, said Brazilian team. Well, more specifically, he said Brasilina team and a Brazilian rider in the hardest main of MX Games, LFG. So yeah, definitely good to see some Brazil on Brazil love out there instead of Brazil on Brazil crime, because we used to see that a lot in the old Cloud9 and PPG days. Remember
Brazil on everyone crimes.
Oh my God, Cal Miranda.
God, Cal and Dudu and
just unbelievable, dude. Juan Pablo, remember Juan Pablo?
Oh my God,
told Sween he would kill him on his house, dude. That was unbelievable. It's crazy back then. Good times. 2013 MX Simulator, catch the fever.
Death threats. We only have those like every once in a while here now.
Yeah. D Davis probably has a few this year.
Yeah.
I mean, D Davis has the career record for most starts, most top tens.
Start getting messages. Oh, he probably definitely has the record, I feel now, of like longevity in the game.
Oh yeah, 100%. He has the most career starts.
Does he?
Yeah. Straight up.
Top tens. How many
I think
wins?
it's like 230 something starts.
Has D Davis ever won a race?
He's won EMF races.
That doesn't count.
Oh,
European stuff doesn't count.
My heart right through the heart with my 2 EMF Supercross wins. Beating Dennis Fjellberg, beating Hunter Root, just getting it right to the heart. My wins don't count.
Doesn't count.
Oh,
I won a French title. I beat Leclerc.
I remember those French titles.
Doesn't count.
I got second in an arena cross title.
They were
Tyson
really
Fresquez.
slippery tracks. I remember.
Oh man! All right,
Leclerc
250 Moto 1
now he's
coming up.
number 1.
Good to see all the interactions in chat so far here tonight. We got Gweg Conrad out here tonight. Kiwin Fuela, that's a throwback. That's another Brazilian rider, but he was pretty clean.
Piccioni, he's in chat.
Oh,
I saw him on someone's Instagram.
There's Logan
Was
Leitzel.
it Weege or
Anthony Piccioni.
At Hangtown? Did you meet him?
I did not meet him, unfortunately.
No.
But yeah, he unfortunately had a really bad incident at Minios a year and a half ago. And I think he's still, unfortunately, in a chair. Hopefully we see it turn around. But yeah, definitely a rough go for him. So 250 Moto 1 coming up right here, folks. Oh, whole shot pick. You got one real quick, A-Wood? We got this for the Studio 8 whole shot award. Let's see what we got. Yeah, 250.
I need to see a list.
Well, we're not going to see a list because we're going right in. So pick one. Should we just say Leitzel?
No. Can we pick different people?
Yeah. I'll pick Leitzel. You pick somebody else.
Okay. I've got Shirley in my head because I know he's there.
All right. Shirley is in his head because he knows he's there.
Balzer.
Rasmus Balzer up the inside. Let's take a look. Who's going to get that all-important whole shot?
Gate.
Here we go from Thunder Valley. Into the first turn we go. It is going to be the 14 of Matthias Janis with that Studio 8 whole shot. Janis with the early lead. Tharp up front with Matherly. Also, Alec Horn, Seth Shirley. Leitzel had a good start. I think he went down coming to the first corner. Crossover line. Shirley getting blocked up the inside as Alec Horn moves into another optimal position right there. But they're all chasing Janis on the downhill on the first lap.
Yeah, Janis getting a little bit sketchy going down there, or going down that hill there. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Matthias Janis, though, up the inside. Look at this. He's leading these guys in, and they're already a little bit spread out throughout the top 5. So got to keep this kind of going strong. It's all about this good first opening lap here. You got so many people going down back there. 40-man gates, man. It's insane. If you get a bad start, Logan Leitzel, we see there. Glad we didn't pick him. He's in 40th there for that whole shot. Whoever picked him, idiot. But Matthias Janis here going strong, and now 3 guys kind of separating themselves. And these early laps, these ruts are going to be the smoothest that they've been, but also not as deep, so they won't hold you up as much. So going to be important to have as much time as you can get on this track to be able to go out there and drop some hot laps early.
Janis whipping it, almost double whipping it on that big uphill triple. You got Tharp and Matherly giving in as this early chase right here as the top 3 are breaking away, coming down the downhill here at Thunder Valley. Cade Matherly, last week's winner at Hangtown, trying to keep the ball rolling, off to a great start right here, and he's in the mix with some of the guys we saw mixing it up at the first round. Tharp was really fast at the opening round at Fox Raceway, didn't have a good second round at Hangtown, and already down in the championship hunt a little bit because of it. But he was so fast at the opening round, I feel like he's going to factor in this championship fight in regards to moto wins at the very least. And of course, if you're Matherly, you feel like after that win at Hangtown last week, you are in the championship fight. But Janis, man, he is dropping these guys and doing that triple overline towards the finish line jump. The 14 District #4Diva ride is pulling away at the front of the field.
Yeah, I love when they look like the rider that they mimic in real life as far as number-wise. I mean, Chase B's been that. Besides the TM, always kind of looking like Anderson, looking like Ferrandis out here, making this 14 look strong. But look at these gaps: 3 seconds to second, 7 to third, and then it starts 8, then 11, then 12. So it's a huge gap for these guys. That's how important the start is here in the outdoors. That's basically how I did my 2013 season. Was my best, and it was just going out and getting national number 18 by only doing good in outdoors, and half of that was just getting starts, like trying to whole shot every race, and got a lot of them. But man, just getting yourself out front is so much easier instead of dealing with 40 guys that you don't know where they're going, especially on a track like this. Look at all the ruts, and you got people up the inside. Janis has just had the easiest time, and he's going to just try to stretch out this lead and get as far ahead as possible, and then it's going to have to make those guys work later on as they're tired.
Dude, he looks like he's riding by himself, honestly. There's nobody even in the shot for many of the angles that we're going through here. And like you said, that early advantage, I mean, he could crash and still get up in about 3rd or 4th right now, so really doing a great job of pulling this early gap out as Matherly settles into 2nd now. And then our championship leader, Seth Shirley, the TSCZ Productions backed by Takatoji, number 44 ride. Shirley has been really solid through 2 rounds, won the opener, retained the championship lead even though Matherly won last week. Now finds himself up in 3rd place right from the get-go of this one. This 250 class, with as much parity as we've already seen in it this year, if you can see someone like Shirley really start to break away a little bit with these consistent good starts and good finishes, it might set the tone for a championship fight that might not exist this year.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the Supercross season with him just, winning a title there, able to kind of just show that you are smart enough with your racecraft. Oh my God, that was so sick, jumping in that route like that. But he's so good. He wasn't up in the top 5, I'm pretty sure, on the start, but able to kind of pick your way through first lap. If you start 10th and you don't go down in the first 5 or 6 corners, you're probably going to be top 3. So just kind of smart for him to kind of settle down first lap, play it smart, and kind of get yourself in the right spot there. Seth Shirley, man, having a great time here, starting off pretty strong so far in this first moto. And I mean, look at this. These guys are so spread out now. You kind of do this, put in a couple smooth laps for the first, it's only just the start of lap 3. Do this for the first 4 or 5 laps, and then you're going to be basically in the top 5 unless you kind of have a huge downfall. You can see the gap behind them and in front of him, no one else even around. So Seth Shirley making it look easy out here.
Yeah, these guys, when they start in this little front group right here, like you said, it just spreads out so fast that you can have those early crashes or early mistakes and it doesn't affect you as much. Like even Alec Horn here in 4th is pretty much all alone, and then we start seeing some of these freight trains. So Tharp now 5th, Zellner 6th, Speck is 7th. Janis went down, so actually this, is a completely change of it. Shirley has gone to the race lead. Matherly just went down on the downhill, and we lost Matthias Janis somewhere. I think he maybe went down in the back.
I think he fell before the start or before the finish.
Okay, fell before the finish.
Downhill.
But this is a change to the lead completely. Shirley has taken over the race lead, and now it's Matherly who's doing the chasing again. I think Matherly did momentarily lead. I don't know if he had another fall or something along those lines. But with these two, they're starting to sneak away from the rest of the pack. And in that, they're also setting up for a terrific battle for the race lead here. It seems like Matherly has a little bit more pace in hand right now to close up on Shirley.
Yeah, I mean, he was up front battling when Janice went down. I thought I saw him, but I should have made a comment about it. But I mean, Matherly was up front and not getting pulled in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get back up on Shirley's rear wheel there, casing that a little bit. But this is a kind of going down into this back and forth section where there's a lot of ruts and stuff. So we're going to have to see how these guys attack these downhills being so close. But man, these guys just checked out. When you don't have any big falls early, maybe a tip over or two, you're going to be out front here like this. So Matherly's still kind of chasing. And then watch Seth Shirley here as he comes into this rut right in front of him. He goes and he jumps into that rut. I guess they're both doing it, but man, that was just so smooth, so fast. Might come out to bite these guys later on, but Matherly flowing a little bit more than Shirley, I think. I wouldn't be surprised to see him kind of make this pass to the next half lap.
Yeah, Matherly definitely looks like he's got Shirley figured out a little bit here, and I'm curious to see what different lines he might use because they've kind of been following each other a little bit here. Oh, Matherly tips the wall jump and goes down. I feel like we're going to see that a lot tonight, especially in this 250 class where those guys just 100%. Get sapped down on those power going up the hill. So Horn up the inside will just barely squeak by for second, but Matherly does remount in third, and now he's got Janice right behind him in fourth. So just like that, you see, even though he went down, and it's only the third lap of the race, only lost one spot in a 10-second exchange right there.
Yeah, I know Horn is in a great spot here. You're running second 7 minutes into this moto, but I feel like Matherly and Janice are going to get by him and kind of start to check out. But hey, if you're a fourth, fifth place guy on the day, you want to just stay there and do what you can do. Just doesn't look like he has the pace, but he's clearly had a great start and been consistent enough to stay there. As I say that, Janice throwing a big whip, coming around the outside. Horn gets held up a little bit behind Matherly. Janice still trying to do the power pull up the hill. They're going to jump both into side-by-side ruts there. Janice gets the run, but he goes over the bars almost, kind of pogo sticks there. He goes off track, and I'm sure he is down. Alec Horn, though, going to survive there. And now we got back-to-back fills machines with Twalik finishing up or pulling up right behind him in the 3-4 spots. Now there's going to be a big gap back to whoever's in the 5th spot. And man, these fills racing machines kind of trying to settle down here inside the top 4 here. Alex Zellner on the Verb Motor Machine in 5th chasing them. Twalik is actually going to make the pass here.
Yeah, like down the inside of Alec Horn. Just an easy move in the end for Twalik. It looks like he might be on the charge. Let's get some early lap time checks in here. 2:14.8 out of Twalik. 2:13.8 is Matherly's, even though he had a crash last time through. And then Shirley up front just putting 2:16s, 2:15s down. So Twalik and Matherly appear to be the fastest riders on the track at the moment. Trying to go back and see if we find anybody else with some lower lap times. Not really. I mean, you got 2:16 out of Colin Allen right here. Everyone else in the 2:20s or higher by the looks of it based on where all these times are coming through. Wanted to go way back here real quick because we did see, first of all, Connor Linz is here tonight. Good to see the 357. Now MX Bikes Ripper, and I know a lot of people love the Linz YouTube channel, so great to give him some love. But he used to rip and sim too, and he definitely crushed me in a championship in 2017. But Logan Leitzel, our defending champion, is having an awful time out here right now. And the people in the chat room are letting us know, LW Tommy says that Logan's raging on Luke's stream right now. So Logan Leitzel not having fun here tonight on his Yogi Suzuki, but trying to pick the ball up a little bit here. Fortunately for him, it's still early enough in the race that if he can get the flow going, he'll make some quick early passes, but not the ideal situation for the defending champ who had a rough week last week at Hangtown as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you're as far back as Leitzel is right now and how long he was in 40th place, that's more than just getting into other riders, you know, and stuff like that. He had to have been making his own mistakes on top of it, which definitely would make me rage a lot more. It's hard when you're back, you know, 30th and back, trying to just get up in the points early on when other people are getting into you. But man, he was back there for so long. He had to have been getting frustrated and then making his own mistakes, but he's trying to pick his way through here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up around 15th place or so as he kind of fights back. But we're not even 10 minutes into this moto, so maybe a little bit more than that if he can kind of settle down and kind of get it together. But yeah, definitely a rough start by Logan. Hopefully he can just kind of pull it together here. See if he's going for the big lines. Not many of these guys doing it. I only saw the first 2 doing it too. 3rd and 4th when we were looking at Horn and Twalik and Janice, they weren't going for it because you kind of don't want to throw away that spot when you're in 4th, 5th. You just want to stay where you are. You're only going to be doing that if you're in, you know, battling for a podium spot or something.
Continuing with the MX Bikes theme, just want to give one final shout out here back a little bit further back. 36 right now for Evan Vanderkoy, also known as Ev Moof on the Sunbelt machine right here. Saw Ev Moof back at Hangtown shredding it up and making it into the moto. So just cool to see a little bit of crossover action here. I know we always seem to have just an absolute frenzy of people in the chat room argue what is better between bikes or sim, but the reality is that they're both really, really good simulated games, and it's awesome to see that, you know, both series are thriving, and that we get to see a little bit of crossover between. They get to see some sim guys go over there and race the bike series like a Seabolt, or I think someone else also does it, but I'm drawing a blank. But then we get to see Evmoof and Lynn's crossover and race some stuff here in sim. So fun to see that. Always cool to kind of keep track of that stuff, because I'll tell you what, it is not good to be good at both games at the same time.
Yeah, which one is Move? What's his name?
Evan Vanderkoy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's cool to see him. That guy rips in bikes. To even be able to kind of be competitive in both is definitely impressive here. Most people you got to pick one to kind of hone your craft, but impressive when people can do decently. You know, if you're even in the mains in both of them, it's very impressive. But
I mean, we're not in either of them.
I feel like I could qualify for these classes right now. Outdoors though, Supercross, no shot. Maybe the 250 class later on in the year looked a little bit rough this season, but I'd rather be here, you know, chopping it up with you, talking about the boys rather than doing it myself, trying to race them. So, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult to do one. So when people do both, it's crazy impressive.
Absolutely. All right, back to our race leader, Seth Shirley, checking in here, about 12 minutes down, 18 minutes still to go in this one. And Shirley, despite being the championship leader, hasn't really necessarily had like dominant performances to start the year, but this is a turnaround a little bit, where this feels a little bit more like what a championship leader in this class should be doing, getting to the lead, pulling a gap, managing that gap a little bit, a little Jet Lawrence-esque in that regard. And it's nice to see Shirley kind of taking it by the horns a little bit here and feeling the flow early in this moto. Let's see if he keeps it rolling, because just made a little bit of a mistake right there. And also, this track is going to get a lot rougher, so these 250 guys are going to start dealing with that while still having to try to jump some of these big jumps. Max Chwalik is trying to keep him honest. Cade Matherly has drifted back to third, and then Ethan Gerst on the 42 is in fourth, with Alec Horn rounding out our top five. Braden Tharp in sixth. Evan Holt is in seventh. Bryce Whelan just snuck by him to get into seventh. Holtzy goes back to eighth. Zellner in ninth, and Colin Allen has drug his way all the way into the top 10. So the Phil's number 351 machine finally is getting the ball rolling. He's looked really strong in the first two rounds in terms of speed. Now he's just trying to make it work and get a little bit deeper into this top 10 here.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just get kind of caught out on an outdoor track that really isn't your like vibe. And when you're trying to do 35-minute motos on it back to back, it's very hard. It's definitely easy to have a race where you can kind of explode, and sometimes that's Hangtown, which I always hated Hangtown, and kind of hated Lakewood actually. With all the off cameras, I can't stand them. Bumps through ruts, like with how deep and rutted this track is going to get, it's definitely a really hard time. So sometimes you just got to kind of say, hey, I'm going to settle in for a 10th place here. You know, if you can go 8-10 on a day, kind of take that, you know, and then go for podiums the rest of the way. But I mean, you're a great rider too, but sometimes, man, that track just kind of has your number.
I want your take on this, because obviously we both raced Lakewood from like whatever 12 to 17, 18-ish or so. When was the last time you raced it? Is
later.
Oh, I thought he was going to save that. As Allen goes down, he's going to lose probably a couple positions right here. Caden's back is going to go by. Balzer will go through, and Allen will remount now in the 12th spot. But, you know, we both raced it well before the changes we've seen to the track, which is this new section right here, shorting the hill. They go back up. It's not as long of an uphill right here. And then they cross over. They do that double line. Then there's the completely restructured downhill after the big triple jump.
This wasn't like this last year, right?
No, this is a couple years like this now, where they've had this crossover
Really?
double thing. Yeah.
Oh man, and I haven't been paying attention for a while, but I mean, I used to like the kind of double like horsepower hill type feeling of like trying to drag race and get the flow up those doubles. I feel like it's a little too much back and forth. It's definitely a little bit more low speed, which might be nice, but man, there's still ruts and bumps throughout the whole thing. So I do like this lower half though. This back half here definitely feels a lot better going straight down the hill here. I would really, I thought this part looked a lot more fun, but that whole middle section, I feel like there's got to be a better way to do that.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think I'm a fan. I think I like the Old Thunder Valley a little bit better. This section is fine. It's not that bad, but I feel like it just it feels too clunky through here now. Like,
see, this part I think feels good. The whole middle feels so back.
yeah, but
and
so
forth.
think about this. You come down by the mechanics area right here, and remember you used to swoop through this corner, drop down into
hit
this
the
sick
six
scrub
tabletop.
table.
Yeah.
Now it's just this like crappy left-hand roller downhill into this weird double into, like, it just doesn't, it feels clunky.
That's
to me.
true. I don't really. That part looks worse. I think I just like the straightaway after the big triple at the top because that was such a hard part for me. Kind of on that, you're leaning over on that left-hander with all those ruts and bumps. I think I hated that off camber so much. But yeah, now that you talk about it, I think I do like the older version. But yeah, I thought this was new for this year. So.
No, you good. Battle for second is happening on our screen right here though, because Shirley
Valley's
went
mid.
down out of the race lead, and it's going to be Matherly moving to second. Max Chwalik has moved into the race lead on the 38 Filski and snowboard Kawasaki, and he's kind of taken off at this thing a little bit. He is putting some solid laps down. 2:15.8 last time by, 2:14 flat his best. Going about 2 seconds faster than Matherly, 3 seconds faster than Shirley. How about it for Max Chwalik, man? He's looking solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see him. I mean, sometimes you're just not good in Supercross. It's too tight. I feel like. But Max Chwalik, he was always that super fast, super loose guy in Supercross where I felt like he was just going to die everywhere he went. Kind of like Payson, just not that insane level speed. But there's people that look a little bit loose, and Chwalik, man, he just looks like he fits outdoors so much better than Supercross. I feel like Supercross is too much coming at him. You can be a little bit looser, more flowy in outdoors. You kind of don't have to just be as on point as everything or with everything. So he's looking really impressive here, man. 7-second lead over Matherly, just kind of riding away from him. And those guys are making mistakes, right? This track's getting rougher. You got that early lead. Now him himself can manage the race up front. He doesn't have to worry about pushing it. Like these guys, look at him. 5th gear, probably not even on the gas half the time, just going down that hill nice and smooth.
Yeah, I feel like we're starting to see this new wave of riding flowing through from real life to even the video game side of it, where smooth is fast and it's not so much about hanging out the back and absolutely ripping everywhere, although Payson Johnson does kind of prove the alternate of that. He's always flying around the racetrack. But yeah, Chwalik looking really solid, smooth around this racetrack at the moment and holding on to the lead. The battle for second is pretty good, but I feel like Matherly maybe just has that little extra speed in hand over Shirley on the 44 behind him. Little swap coming down the hill there and saves it. And it comes down to every lap with these two, whether or not they get this tricky jump over line with Matherly does. Shirley does this time as well. It seems like they're just doing just enough every single lap to make it over. But the battle continues, and Shirley is all over the 25 machine.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see any of these guys, while they're still in the battle, kind of realize they don't have the drive for it and not go for it, and just kind of be smart, maybe lose a spot that time, but not go down. But a couple of the times these guys look like they don't have the perfect drive for it, and they're still going for that step over, which is just impressive. How perfect you have to be with your timing on that seat balance, especially on the 250s. But Shirley, he just doesn't consistently look like he has the pace. But all it takes is one little mistake here, is he's kind of chasing right here, cutting the gap down. But you might have, a couple spots on either side of the track where you're faster. But man, it's all about how you put the whole track together smoothly. So we'll see how Shirley can kind of make this work as the track breaks down. All going for this outside rail line. Didn't hit it as smooth. Look, a couple bobbles in there, and you see him lose half a second right there in one rut. So that's how much outdoors kind of matters when you're trying to get a smooth drive through these ruts. Every time you see him kind of clunking around there in the rut, that's a 10th there, 2/10. That's probably going to be 3/10 right there.
Yeah, it's just these little mistakes just add up.
You gotta be so smooth.
And it's so much different outdoors versus Supercross, where it's obviously only like a 50-second lap time on the track, so you do that one mistake every lap, you maybe lose 3/10 or whatever, but you're still close. An outdoor track, you could start the lap right behind someone, make 2 or 3 mistakes, and end it 3-4 seconds behind them, just because of how long these tracks are and how rough and choppy every section is. That even those little mistakes, man, they just turn into big ones so fast.
Yeah,
that's Chwalik actually. Chwalik just went down. So Chwalik was down out of the race lead and coughed it up to Matherly, but then picked it up right in front of Shirley and crashed again. So now Shirley goes by, and Cade Matherly has assumed the race lead here at Thunder Valley once again, down past the mechanics area. The 25 machine leading this race and trying to pull away at the front.
Dude, he looks so good right here. he's kind of settled into his own. You know, he's looks like outdoors as well as his specialty too. He was so good coming into Supercross, but I mean, most of the guys they're able to ride more. You ride more motocross during the off season when you're just kind of riding around having fun with your buddies, and it's just I feel like outdoors always came so much easier to me. Maybe I just wasn't as kind of locked in as some of those guys are, as precise with the bike. I mean, definitely not the famous Hoffman line. My lines aren't choices was basically how I lived my life as well. So Matherly, man, he just looks like he's able to kind of settle into outdoors and kind of goes a little bit smoother around the track.
Yeah, he looks pretty comfortable right now, but man, these front three have kind of yo-yoed back and forth. Matherly had the lead, he coughed it up to Shirley. Shirley had the lead, he coughed it up to Twi'lek. And now Twi'lek coughs it back up to Matherly again, so it seems like no one's really found the magic recipe at the front of the field just yet, but it is still the same three riders at the front. They've got a pretty sizable advantage. I mean, pretty sizable. Holy smokes, they're 30 seconds ahead of Braden Tharp, who just crossed over the finish line jump here onto the 10th lap of the race. So Tharp is now 4th. Got a long ways to go to get any higher than that. And Bryce Whelan quietly has snuck into the top 5, our 2022 250 East champion, who had a really odd Supercross season, missing 2 main events, having a horrible main event right in the middle of winning potentially the 2023 East Championship, and yeah, popping a wheelie up the hill right there. So Whelan, I feel like not normally an outdoor guy.
No,
maybe just making amends for really a terrible end to his Supercross season, in which Rasmus Balzer claimed the title on that East. And as I say that, he goes down hard, swaps back and forth. Evan Holt is down at the bottom of the hill, so Gerst is actually going to go up into the top 5 as Whelan picks it up still in 6th, and then Zellner now going to close up right behind him. But at least good to see Whelan kind of picking up the pieces from a weird Supercross season and looking strong out here.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see some of these guys, Zollner, that kind of started up front and fell back a little bit, but still able to kind of bring it back. And then someone like Whelan, a couple of these other guys that we didn't really see inside the top 10 early on, they're able to kind of put it together, slowly work their way up. We're now 22 minutes into the moto, and to get inside the top 10 and kind of be cruising around there, it's just really impressive, the endurance that you have to have when you play this. I mean, as we get deeper into summer too, I don't know about you, but playing in Southern California when it's just hot, your room gets hot, your computer, like it's not fun in summer. It's not too bad yet, but man, these guys, it's so tiring even to just play this game for this long and kind of do it. The guys that can just kind of stay consistent and slowly work your way up. If they started 30th, I mean, that brings my mind to check in where Logan Leitzel is too. Yeah. He's been grinding for 23 minutes now, but dude, it's just impressive when you can go through all that BS maybe early in the race and then kind of get it together and slowly work your way up. It's really impressive to see people kind of able to do that, and then you see others who start up front and then they fade their way back into 20th or so.
Yeah, Whelan down. Huge. Yeah, big swap down the hill. I feel like people think we're being facetious when we say thumb pump, but you really can't get thumb pump in this game. Like you lock up, you start riding tight.
Your hands get so sweaty. Your hands
get sweaty too. Like, yeah, it just is a mixture of things. I don't feel like I've ever played a game, maybe bikes, but there's not many other games like MX Bikes or MX Sim that you're moving your hands around more. I feel like when you're trying to play this game, like you just constantly feel like you're slowly moving the sticks and shifting up and barely touching the throttle so you don't lose traction out of a corner, and you're just always pressing so many different buttons at the same time that it just can tighten up real quick. As Balzer finally caught up to Whelan and tucks the front end right there. These guys have slipped back a little ways though. When we came on to Whelan, he was inside the top 5. He's now 9th. Evan Holt has moved up to 8th. Alec Horn is 7th. And now Zellner is up to 6th. So Gerst has moved into that top 5 spot and been able to retain it. But still a little ways to go before he gets to Tharp. And then Tharp has a long way to go to get to our lead group.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Matherly here, you're just trying to kind of manage this, as well as Shirley, you're only a couple seconds back from 2nd, so you're not really looking too far up at getting 1st place in the next 6 minutes, maybe in catching Matherly. I mean, anything could happen. He goes down once, you ride on him, but I mean, when you're in 3rd too, someone like Shirley, you're just kind of trying to chip away a little bit, maybe get a 2nd. You get a 2nd place in the first moto, that sets you up. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to go out there and win and get the overall. You know, I mean, even with a 3rd, as long as the guy doesn't go 1-2, you're going to get the overall with the 3-1. So it's nice to really get yourself up in the podium spot, and for all 3 of these guys up in the top 3 to have such a huge gap, you kind of know you're at least locked into a great finish, and that's a good feeling to have when you're 25 minutes into a main and you're getting tired. But yeah, it's nothing right now with the way the weather's been around the country. I remember it would be 105, and my parents would like set the AC to 75, 76 because they're like, I don't want to run the AC all day, and I'm like, can we please put it to like 68 so I can not die in my room? And no, I just had to suffer. But I mean, man, these guys, Matherly, he's a Cali kid too, so luckily not too hot today, and he's looking like he's kind of coasting along on this one. He hasn't really had to work too hard so far yet in this race.
Yeah, definitely putting in consistently smooth laps will help his case at the front of this one. Shirley still second. Traulik is charging. He is trying to get close, and as I say that, he has gone down. He's down on the backside of that uphill step up. Still going to get up well and truly in third place, and he's got a huge gap. Let's go back and find some battles. I feel like there's a close one building here. Gerst and Whelan going at it over the finish line jump. Whelan looks like he just got around Gerst for the 6th spot, but Gerst is trying to fight back on this District Designs number 42 program. We'll see whether or not he can put it back up to Whelan's rear tire and maybe make a pass on the 31 machine. Starting to get late in the motos, and these battles will pay dividends moving forward, especially when it comes to overall results. If you can get a 6th or even a 5th, you suddenly get into discussion or maybe even winning the overall with how weird the scores have been through 2 rounds this year. Guys going 6-1, battling for race victories, and as I say that, Whelan has gone down. He's off the outside of the track, rejoining just as Balzer's coming up the hill on the inside on the 35, trying to hook that inside rut coming down the hill. And he's going to go all the way to the inside while Whelan crosses over, goes to the middle rut. Balzer into the SpongeBobs, almost went down. Now drag racing back up the hill just to the outside of Whelan as they close back up on Gerst. And right behind them as well is Evan Holt. So we have 4 riders in a row right here, 4 different manufacturers, and a great battle brewing for the top 5 positions.
Yeah, these guys, man. Whelan's been, mistakes here and there, but now look at this super tight battle here between these guys. But Whelan, as we saw, we watched him go from 5th back to 9th. Now he's trying to make his way back forward, but it looks like he just hasn't been able to kind of adjust to this track as it's starting to get rough here. Man, these guys here in a tight battle and following each other into the rut, I definitely wouldn't be. There we go. Now they're using some different lines, but we're going to jump off the side there. Let's see if we can get back on. Yes, we can there. These guys keeping it tight, but it's so scary following guys into these ruts because you can have one little mistake and kind of have the guy kind of fall in front of you or jump over, and look, just like that, Whelan gets a twofer.
Yeah, Whelan got the outside, got Gerst. Balzer, I thought, was maybe going to get the twofer on the inside right there. But it is Whelan who moves up into, I believe this is 5th position. It's 6th place now, just ahead of Ethan Gerst. Gerst now settles back into 7th, and Balzer is still right there behind him with Evan Holt rounding out our top 10 in the background. So this is a great fight between these 3 riders, still going at it. 28.5 minutes into the moto, and time winding down, but these positions can be oh so critical in the overall spectrum of who's going to win today. And look at that. Balzer up the inside, jumps past Evan Holt, or Ethan Gerst, I should say. Evan Holt behind these guys. Balzer makes a pass, and off the track for the finish line jump is a lap rider, so these guys just weaving through some lappers as well. So it's Balzer now moving into 7th, putting Gerst back into the 8th spot now. Can Gerst fight back? He looks like he got kind of shuffled back quicker than he expected, and still seems like he's got a little bit of fire under his hind quarters trying to close this gap back down.
I mean, that's just one section of the track too. Maybe you have a half where you're not as good, you make a couple mistakes and you drop back like that. These guys are 60 seconds back of the lead, but they're still battling here. 6th, 7th, 8th place. We're almost 30 minutes into this moto now, so they're hoping for the white flag lap to come up soon, or for the plus two lap sign to come up soon for the leader. Not sure if they're going to make it. It's going to be close, but man, Whelan now trying to get away from those two as he's pulling away a little bit from Balzer, and Gerst has dropped off a little bit. And man, Whelan doesn't really have anyone to chase too close to him, right? He's just kind of got to work his way out and trying to get away from those guys behind him. You know, when you got the guys chasing your tail here, all you got to do is race
right
forward.
In front of him. That's top 5 right there. That's Alex Zellner.
Oh, and Zellner making a mistake.
Yeah, he kind of high-centered in the rut, so Whelan goes into the top 5. And Balzer is trying to follow suit right here on the 35 and make it by. Zellner's made a lot of mistakes in the last few quarters, and he just slips back now to the 7th spot, so 5th to 7th in a hurry. Balzer does not look done with Bryce Whelan. He wants to close up there on the 31 machine and kind of reignite this 250 East Championship battle in regards to what we've seen in the past this year. Balzer wants to go around Whelan and move into the top 5 quickly here.
I mean, honestly, sometimes you know that your battle you're in is between 5, 6, 7, and 8, and there's not really any way to go much further back than that. And you're seeing, okay, I'm at 30 minutes right now. Might as well charge to get that one extra spot, because what's the worst that can happen if I do go down? So a lot of times you're sitting there, okay, I'm going to click up in the 5th. I'm going to leave the gas on a little bit longer in some of these bumpy downhills. Just try to gain a little bit of momentum. And if I can get in front of this guy, maybe I get in his head, he goes down, and I'm kind of smooth sailing. So look at him, the way that Balzer has been kind of pulling up on the rear here. And let's see, they're still getting that jump, step over. Balzer a little bit smoother. Does he have the inside?
Front end tuck over the rut. Nice job not to go down right there, but will lose some time. And has one of the Phil's riders, I think, right behind him, but a lap down. I couldn't quite see the number right there, but Balzer retains the 6th position there behind Whelan. And next up is to see whether or not Bryce Whelan can sneak away from this group as my daughter comes crawling into the room.
Bryce Whelan now trying to work his way up here. And he's got no one in front of him, but he's still got that group way behind him. So look at these guys. Just trying to keep it smooth sailing here, and we can see as he starts to come down this hill, there's not anyone in front of him. Oh, we got daughter coming in on the mic.
You want to say anything? You want to say, go Bryce? You say that? No.
No.
Okay. Whoa. Motorcycles are going fast, huh?
Let's see, still watching Bryce Whelan here, going over a couple of ruts here. Let's see what we got going on around. So it looks like he's not making any gaps, so Balzer closing in a little bit on his rear end. Still got about 3 minutes here probably left in this race. Balzer going down though into Tharp, so they both got a position.
Yeah, Tharp was down in 4th, so moving up ahead is Balzer into the top 5. You also have Whelan now up into 4th.
Balzer launching it next to Tharp, but Balzer able to get that jump smoothly here. Hits that inside line, goes down by a lapper though. So Balzer still holding on to this position here, trying to chase back on Whelan here. We got dogs and kids and everyone coming in this room right now. Like we said, a little loose program here, but Balzer is still trying to keep it together. We got 33 minutes on the clock coming around here. White flag lap.
Oh, that's
for the leaders.
Whelan
goes down. So just like that, Tharp, Balzer, and the lap rider go by. So Whelan back into 6th place there.
Tharp went by back into the top 5. Balzer got around Tharp 36 seconds behind our front 3 right now. Unbelievable. This Twalik is 20 seconds off of 2nd place right now. Shirley is only 8 seconds off of our lead, but our front 3 are gone. Matherly, Shirley, Twalik well out in front as these two now take the white flag. Balzer and Tharp right in tow, 4th and 5th. Whelan went down again, losing more time. Evan Holt is going to close the gap down. Here comes Johnny Padani tripling over the wall jump up the inside of Evan Holt to move up into 8th spot by the looks of it. Nice move by the 16 machine. And we'll see if he can maybe make a charge after, what is this, his teammate? Yeah, Johnny Padani and Whelan both on fills. That is going to be the battle for 6th spot. So we'll see if anything happens. There's Balzer, has a huge one. What a big old yard sale. Stuff scattered everywhere. Find his goggles in the crowd over there, folks. He just went tossing into the ground. So Tharp moves back into 4th. Twalik, Shirley, and back to our race leader, Matherly, navigating the final lap right here. Well, this is exactly what Matherly needed after winning last week at Hangtown, winning that 2nd moto, trying to roll it right into some more success this week and getting right into this championship fight. He's looking pretty strong early on in this championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to go from winning a 2nd moto next week into the 1st moto this week. Easy to carry some momentum here as he's trying to work his way past this lapper. Not sure if this lapper is near points and wants to keep going, or if this guy wants to just get over and looks like he wants to keep going. Not sure what place 76 is in. We'll have to check that. But Matherly able to kind of slow it up here. He's going to let the rider go. Just get a smooth sailing win right here in the 1st moto as he takes the checker flag with a big lead right now.
Yeah, it's going to be
Shirley. Look at that, probably 20 seconds or so.
Yeah, pretty big gap over there as Shirley triples up into the top of the hill right here. It was Nygren who was trying to remain unlapped right there at the flag, and Shirley 16 seconds back at the flag as Twalik goes for the big triple line to the top of the hill. He'll finish this one up in 3rd as our front 3 had absolutely dropped everybody. So it's Tharp, Balzer 4-5, But Donnie has gotten around Whelan. He is now 6th. As Holtzley finds his way into 7th. Seth Carr is 8th. Alex Zellner is 9th. As a lap rider goes down. And, oh no, it's Seth Carr. And here comes Logan Leitzel, by the way, to get into the top 10. And Seth Carr picking it back up. Oh, and Leitzel's down. He's laying pretty awkwardly in that rut. He's going to be able to pick it up really fast, though, there as Whelan goes by to now find his way into 10th place. So Leitzel had just gotten into the top 10 from 40th place in this moto. Still has a shot at it with a few turns left to go. But you also got to watch out because Carr is trying to make a move here into 11th spot as Leitzel blows the corner, and he does give that spot over to Seth Carr. Oh, my goodness. So coming to the flag here in the fight for the top 10, it is Whelan from Carr and Leitzel. Let's see if it stays that way or if anybody misses this wall jump line. Leitzel or Whelan taps. Carr launches high. Leitzel got it. It's a drag race for 11th to the flag. It is going to be Seth Carr by a nose, I think. No, Leitzel got it. Leitzel got it by 3/100ths of a second. Yeah. And it's Carr, then Colin Allen, who will cross the line 13th. Fowler looks like he's going to give 14th with Alec Horn rounding out our top 15. Jack Gatland in 16th here. Hayden Stevenson 17th. Then we got a battle coming to the flag right here for some points. 18th is Schaefer, 19th Spicer, 20th is Speck, and 21st Connor Linz is trying to get into the points, and he is on the verge of doing so as down goes Caden Speck on the inside. Connor Linz is going to get a point here, and let's see if he gets a few points with these guys going at it to the finish line. I think it's just going to be the 1 point. So it will be Schaefer 18th, Spicer 19th, and Linz picks up a point. He'll get 20th in 250 Moto 1 here at Thunder Valley. So Caden Speck absolutely tossed that one away. He'll end up 21st. Manuel Cepeda gets 22nd. Brandon Nygren, last guy on the lead lap, gets 23rd. And, Nygren, did he miss the finish line jump or is my game lagging? He totally jumped the finish line, did he not? Says he has not completed the race, so got to go. Oh, he missed a timing gate or something? Yep, that would make sense. So over here, he's got to go pick up this timing gate. What'd you grab? Oh, no, you're good. So, yeah. Nygren's going to cross the line. We'll get those penalties in. Let's take a look.
It wasn't even in points. Why did you do the extra lap?
Lynn, Spicer, Schaefer. Looks like all these guys stayed the same. Trying to see if I see any changes. Looks pretty much the same. Yeah, stayed all the same throughout, looks like. So Matherly gets the dub, 250 Moto #1 here at Thunder Valley.
Leitzel got
20th.
An even bigger gap.
Yeah, I got 20th.
No, Leitzel. What?
Oh, Matherly, you mean? No. Who was it? Oh, Leitzel. Yeah, Leitzel, sorry. I'm confused.
Me too. It's okay.
I'm confused.
I'm confusion. Only three more to go.
Speaking of 3 more to go, we got 450 Moto 1 coming up next. Back in studio, Kellen Brower and Andrew Wood with you guys, just hanging out, having a good time here on this lovely June 7th, 2023. Right now, about 5 years ago, my wife and I were getting hella drunk as we were just married. Yeah. Just married. We got married about 2 hours ago, 5 years ago.
Probably first dance already done, just getting tipsy, dancing.
Probably doing speeches right now, listening to very long speeches from the relatives and such, you know. Good times.
Hanging with the boys.
Can't believe that when you think about that in hindsight, we were still 2 years away from our daughter being born, and now she's 3. Oh, time goes by way too fast, man, I'll tell you.
Yeah, kids are crazy. I can't even imagine being married 5 years ago and then. Yeah. How old are you?
30.
Oh, okay. So I'm only 3 years behind. Should have got married when I was 25. Yeah,
right. I like these people saying whoever says Connor, we only say Connor Linz. No one refers to that MF as Connor. It's because we use real names here, people. I don't have to say dad shoes and skills and
last names. Oh my God. Well, that's why I'm like, okay, who's Moof? Because I know Ev Moof. Oh, and I'm like, who is it? Some guy was calling some dude Juice. And I'm like, Juice. if you're not a multi-time champion, your name can't be Juice. Unless you're Fernando Tatis, then they're
Well, I mean,
steroids. I mean, those are just
to be fair,
pills.
I wouldn't want to be called Juice, and I feel like too many young kids don't realize who the real nickname of the Juice is. You know who Juice is, right? Well, Juice is O.J. Simpson. That's who the Juice is. So if you want to be nicknamed after O.J. Simpson, go ahead and be my guest. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was thinking I don't know. But yeah, not a very good you don't deserve a nickname until you're multi-time champion. I don't know. There's only one Southwick God. So I mean.
Oh, it's you?
Yeah, me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
One time, 10-year anniversary this year, by the way, guys. So just watch out. Maybe we'll do.
Don't worry, we got something planned.
You're not doing anything.
We got something planned for Southwick this year.
I'm racing.
Oh, you're not gonna be here?
No, probably. I mean, I don't know if I don't work.
Okay.
I'll be here. I'm not racing. Come on, I don't want to miss the race and then just sit at home and have to watch the stream. Sad.
Just watch the montage.
Yeah, if I just say I can qualify here every week, then I don't actually have to qualify. I can just tell people that I'm better than all these guys, and then I don't have to prove it. And I'll just say, no, I'm good. I'm a Zoomer. No, I'm not. I'm a whatever you call.
Are you millennial? You're tail end of millennial?
95?
Yeah, I'm a millennial. I was born in 93, so
yeah.
I think you'd be a millennial. I don't know.
Alone, Todd.
All right, whole shot pick. We got to figure it out. Payson Johnson? No. Leclerc? Who else would it be? I'm going to go Hubbard. I'll get Hubbard. Do you want Leclerc?
That's cheating.
Why?
Because he whole shots every race.
Then pick Leclerc. He's got the red plates. Look at how fancy he looks.
Yeah, but he's not going to after this race.
Ooh. This be fighting words from Andrew Wood.
Carter, 1-1. What?
Oh, my goodness.
Leclerc's number 1. I feel like I haven't even really watched a full race this year, so I've only watched 5 to 10 minutes. Where was I? No, that was... I've just been hurt, but...
Are you picking somebody or not? Come on.
Not yet. There's still time. Hold on.
What do you mean there's still time? We've gone through everybody. I picked Hubbard. Vial, Marchini. Pick somebody.
I need to see the gate pick.
Unbelievable.
If you're on gate 7, you just get the whole shot unless you suck. So
unbelievable.
Look how bad the start is on this track. It's so dumb.
I got Hubbard though. So you pick who you want.
Go into the other camp.
We got Payson Johnson up the inside, Leclerc far down the inside, Lang way up the inside, Castellaneta there in the middle on the 12. Let's see who gets the whole shot. Here we go. Carter's got a beautiful jump off the gate. Leclerc's trying to ride that rear tire to the first corner, but it is the 9 machine. The Phil Ski and Snowboard number 9 of Braden Carter rips to Studio 8. Oh, shot! And there's a huge pile up in the second corner. Leclerc's down. It's going to be Carter leading up the uphill, though. He's got Walter Gebhardt on the 338. J-Law out here up in P2. Tyler Lang's got a great start as well. I feel like Giblets wants to lead, though. He's going after Carter out front.
So did Carter pick Cowies because he has number 9? He looks like AC because he does look sick. But
I don't know, but I'm just stoked that we're finally out of Yamaha Supercross, which was everybody had a Yamaha in Supercross. Now we got Hondas, KTMs, Cowies, TMs, dude. Love to see it. We need someone to get on a Beta and then a Ducati and Triumph after that. Let's get it going.
I do like the number 9 on the Cowie. Looks good. Braden Carter though with the whole Shiat. Should have just picked him instead. I was trying to get spicy with the gate pick, but man, Braden Carter, told you 1-1. It's gonna happen. So look at that though. See how many people are in the back. When you see behind the camera, how many people are just kind of stacked up. That's 15th to 30th place right there. So getting a start is definitely the most important part of the race in outdoors. Even though it's a 35-minute moto, you can work your way up, but you can't work your way up from a 30-second disadvantage if you go down a couple times. So, good to see him. Oh, second place rider Gibbons going down yard.
Carter almost went down. Eaglin's up here as well, so Lang and Eaglin also in the mix. So Carter has a win this year in a moto. He won the second moto at Hangtown last week. Eaglin also has a moto win. Tyler Lang, our 2021 champ, does not have a moto win yet, but we've got a good little trio at the front of this field early on. Chris Post with another great start. Said last week he absolutely was dog water on the track, so great to see that he's turned it around. He's got a good start here at Thunder Valley. Brandon Cocroft inside the top 5 with Gatlin Morrow getting passed around the outside as Zane Urich on the Pogo program moves up into the 7th spot, I think that is. Gebhardt picks it up in 9th ahead of Chase Blakely. Hubbard also back here. Post coming on from off the track. We got guys launching at the top of the hill right there, and everybody's nose to tail coming to the finish line. We got like 9 dudes going over the finish line, Joe. Everyone going over the line together. Oh, and Gatlin Morrow tags the inside tough block with his helmet. He's putting it on the ground with the dome chrome as he slides into the inside line right there. Hubbard around the outside of who is that? Gatlin Morrow, Zane Urich with a nice pass on the 78 machine. Want to go back and find Payson Johnson. There he is on the 1. Finds himself in 9th after 1 lap.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, 9th in 1 lap is not that bad, but look on the track map at the top right if you can see that. So he's about 2 turns, but 2 pretty long straightaways away, but at least you're outside of that huge battle of white dots, as that's Hubbard down right there on the Kawasaki, not our leader right there. So Payson getting another spot, and you're able to pick your way up through 7 other guys is really not that hard, but when you get in those white dots that are just like a snake up there at the top right, going along our track map, that's when it's hard. So Payson Johnson, he's a past champion right there, picks off another one up the inside, nice and easy. He's going to stick to these inside lines here through this section, jumps from inside to inside. Look at this, just trying to take the shortest way around the track, and slowly but surely, or quickly actually, not slowly but surely at all, inside lines all the way around the track, and he's able to go through the bumps just like that. 3 spots right there up in the 5th.
Yeah, that was incredible to watch. Johnson is flying into the top 5 as he made a nice move on the 21 of Blakely. Chase McDonald moved his way forward. Cooper Hunt is also in the mix with Adam Holm right here. So we lost a couple of guys that were right there. And there is our points leader, Alexis Leclerc, getting around the outside of Kyle Boardman. So Boardman with a pretty good start. He's 11th, but Leclerc just now sneaking into the top 10. So really, we're starting to see all of our heavy hitters kind of shine through in this 450 division as Leclerc working his way forward, closing up on Holm. Cooper Hunt has been strong this year, and Johnson's down at the bottom of the hill right here. Leclerc up the inside is going to pull right up alongside the 1 machine. They cross over each other. Dualies over the triple, not big ones though, because Leclerc definitely didn't sauce it. Definitely does not have the sauce coming out of the 7 today. So he's going to try to close up on Johnson, and this is an early battle between guys we expect to be in this championship fight all the way throughout. But right now, they are 9th and 10th on the racetrack. Yeah, Leclerc hitting that little double outside the inside line. Haven't really seen anyone do that from the inside line. It's just super impressive the way he can pick apart these tracks. All these 450 riders are going to easily get that triple over there. 2 riders down though, so that's going to be Hunt and McDonald.
McDeasy, he's going to go down, and that's going to be 2 more spots for these guys. So they keep moving up and up and up. And yeah, you start to see the cream rise to the top as you get 3 races in here.
Line.
Huh?
You see that inside line that Johnson just took right
he
there?
He probably jumped into it, never let off 4th gear, and just, yeah, he's nuts.
Unbelievable.
Adam
Up into
just
6th.
got sauced on him.
Poor Adam, dude. Like, so good. Adam Holm was so good in the outdoors a few years ago. He is good. Like, he's still really good. And Payson Johnson just working him right now, getting by and into 6th spot. Leclerc trying to come with Johnson, though, and sticking close as he's now tailed up behind his teammate. Let's see if this inside line at the bottom of the hill there for Leclerc works. Worked for Johnson a few laps ago, and Leclerc, almost into the side of Holm. Johnson, is he already through on Blakely? He is. He's up into the top 5, just gets right around the 21 machine and continues his march forward. Yeah, I mean, these guys, the way their suspension works, these are the guys where this is where it matters when you have some suspension setups. These guys work their way to be able to handle their speeds. And the thing about that is Chase B goes down on the inside, so he's going to lose the spot. Alexis Leclerc up the inside. He's going to get by Adam Holm as well. Let's see, they're going to go into this right-hander. Not going to be able to get it yet, but I'm sure Alexis Leclerc is going to make short work of him soon. He's so close, just needs to pick the right spot. But these guys have their suspensions where it can handle going insane speed, and sometimes you can get their suspension, it just doesn't work because you cannot go as fast as them. But these guys, they just have it so dialed in. They understand this game better than anyone, and you'll kind of see these guys kind of settle themselves apart from the rest of the field with even just the way their bike works as the track starts breaking down, just like that. Alexis Leclerc dives up the inside, able to make the pass, and he's going to make it stick. There's some dualies. Leclerc puts it out, and he's going to secure this inside line and secure the position. Yeah, nice move by Leclerc. We do have a change for the lead, by the way, as Holm is fighting back on Leclerc, does not want to let the 7 machine go. This is, and Leclerc crosses over, takes his teammate out, and Hubbard, another teammate, trying to get into the mix right here, but Leclerc will hold that position. I was about to say that's a 2018 title fight battle right there between Leclerc and Holm. They were certainly friendly with each other back then, and then not friendly with each other after that title fight. But but eventually it all came around. We got a change for the lead right now, by the way. Colby Eagland is leading this race on the 24 District Designs ride. It has been a whirlwind first 4 motos of the year for Colby Eagland, who won the second moto at Fox Raceway after a 9th place finish in the first moto, and then a Hangtown round that was really just a disaster from start to finish. Not good starts, not good finishes. Now he's leading here at Thunder Valley and turning himself into a little bit of crash or win situation out here with Colby Eagland leading the field around.
I feel like Colby Eagland's one of the guys where you can just, depending on all of his current results, whatever's happening, you could be like, hey man, Colby Eagland won last night, and you'd be like, yeah, I could see that, because he just kind of shows up randomly, whether it's a Triple Crown in Supercross or just, having a couple bad motos in outdoors. He's just always able to bring it back together. For the last couple of years, he has good races and bad races. Hasn't been able to put together the title in the in the 450 class yet, but man, he's always so good whenever he feels like it. It seems like so. Great start by him. He's up inside that top 5, able to pick his way through, and just like that, a couple mistakes, and now you're out 5 seconds out front trying to just kind of bring this thing home. Look at him staying outside of those big ruts and bumps, going down the hill, picking his way through, keeping the high gear, trying to keep the rear end settled, but just like that, he lets it go, and Carter back to the lead. Look at this, 6, 7,
See
8
if
seconds.
Lang gets there. Lang is
now.
not going to get there, so Eagland retains second place, even though he crashed the lead away. So it's now Carter from Eagland, Lang, Brandon Cocroft on the Fluid Racing 137. One of these things just doesn't belong here as Payson Johnson now settles in behind him. He is in 4th spot. Cocroft in 4th place. He's absolutely shred butting right now. Okay. Now he goes to 3rd because Eagland has gone down. Johnson has moved into 4th, and they're chasing Brandon Cocroft, who is just right in the mix of this titanic title fight between a lot of guys that know what it's like to win championships. We got 3-time 450 Supercross champ Braden Carter leading as Carter goes down. Cocroft is 2nd, Johnson 3rd. Round the outside goes Eagland into 4th, and then Leclerc is in 6th behind these guys with Cooper Hunt coming with him. So this is just a smorgasbord of talent at the front of this field, and Brandon Cocroft looking like he just belongs up here now in 2nd place.
We gotta watch this guy for a lap, because it's more than just a good start, man. With the pace that these guys are running, you got a great start, and you're also just settling. Yeah, you're avoiding the carnage, you're avoiding all these other guys going down around you, but look at this, man. 3rd place, just kind of chilling up front here. We're 9.5 minutes into this race. It's okay. And you're just still beating out Payson Johnson. He's arguably the fastest person for 1 lap in the whole game. Look at that.
Johnson wanted to cross that line over and just block him, and it didn't work. And Eagland's kind of keeping Johnson honest here. So this is teammates right here on the District Designs program, but Cocroft is just holding them at bay for the time being. Right now is being called the 01 Warrior in chat. Lane Burke says he just lives in 01. I haven't heard of a single person living in 01 in a long time. When was the last person you heard was like, oh, dude, they're always hanging out in 01 doing the natty tracks? Never. I just don't even remember that that's a thing. But it sounds like Cocroft is doing that. As Johnson now moves into 2nd, Eagland is all over Cocroft right now for 3rd, and Lang is sitting right behind him as well. Leclerc is going to be on these guys soon as well. He's only 4 seconds off of this 3-rider battle, and this is getting good for 3rd place.
Yeah, I love the fact that he lives in 01, because it used to be 01, 03, back and forth, Supercross, outdoors. But, man, look at Cocroft, man. He's clearly got his bike handling over these bumps, and look at the speed, man. You don't rail a rut like that in front of, some of these guys who are championship winners and just kind of have this sort of speed out of nowhere. So, man, he looks really good right now, and he's a little bit more settled than Lang is, as Lang's about to make a pass back there and not going to make it happen just yet. But, man, he looks so good, and it's so impressive to see someone come out and shine just like this. It's early on in Moto 1 still, but, man, if he stays up, finishes inside the top 5, this is going to be insane for him. Oh, he goes a little bit long, still gets that seat bounce, goes over. And the commentator's curse. He goes over the bars, over the rut.
Dang.
And goes off just like that. Leclerc passed him.
Cooper Hunt goes by as well. So Hunt now 6th, Leclerc up into 5th, Eagland 4th, Lang 3rd, and then Johnson 2nd, 16 seconds behind Braden Carter. Outdoor guy, dude. What is this? Braden Carter has come into the outdoors ready for a fight, man. So much of this talk after Supercross was coming to an end that Braden Carter is not normally an outdoor guy. Hasn't been a guy that we've seen even contend for race victories even outdoors of late, and wins that 2nd race of the year, or 2nd fourth moto of the year, I should say, at the second round at Hangtown. Man, Carter, is the flip script? Is he now an outdoor guy, I guess?
The flip script? Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you're fast, like, it doesn't take that much time to be good at outdoors as he goes around that rider.
It was a lapper because he's leading.
Oh, okay. I don't know, dude. I'm just trying to be in the chat with the boys, all right? Braden Carter, though, I mean, when you're as good at Supercross as you are, do you really have to put in that much time and effort into it, like into Supercross, you know? Maybe he started riding outdoors a little bit earlier, or you could just be like how we saw Jack Haley when he was so dominant in both classes, you know, Leclerc, you can just hop into one and within you know, 2 or 3 laps, you're just as fast as anyone in the game. So I think these guys are just so good at the game. It doesn't really matter what discipline it is. He's got, you know, another year into the game, so he might not even have to ride outdoors that much, but you still know how your suspension is going to work and how the game physics work that much more. And I feel like Braden Carter is a force to be reckoned with all outdoors long. Payson Johnson and Leclerc are going to have to be definitely very consistent this whole year. I mean, all 3 of those guys to kind of take this championship title home. Leclerc in 5th, not a bad moto, but man, when it's Carter and Payson 1-2, you can't just be letting that happen multiple races in a row.
Dude, and Carter looks good. Like, he looks really comfortable. Okay, gosh, you know, settle down. But Carter definitely looks really solid out front right here. Comfortable on the machine, letting the bike flow in and out of the corners. The braking bumps being soaked up just fine. So it's up to Payson Johnson really here to close it down. 209.7 versus a 211.5 last time by. So right there, 2 seconds a lap gained by Johnson. Of course, we have plenty of time left in this race. There's still about 17 minutes left plus 2 laps. So Johnson has the time available to try to make it happen. And the question is whether or not Carter stays on 2 wheels or Johnson even stays on 2 wheels the whole way, because if you're Johnson, you're having to push the pace pretty hard to even try to catch Carter.
I mean, that's the thing. You got to go 2 seconds lap. No crashes for either of them. You have to go 2 seconds lap faster. You know, you're not even 7 laps through right now. So to knock that 14 seconds down, you're going to be at the end of the race by the time you get there if you're running 2 seconds faster than him consistently. So you're going to need mistakes. And I feel like Payson, man, as the tracks get more broken down with how loose he is, his speed's just a little too much for the track. So I think it's going to be very difficult for him to catch Braden without any mistakes here. I mean, that's kind of been the name of the game in every series that we've seen these guys kind of race in, especially the Supercross season. So, I mean, Payson catching a little bit, but yeah, you got to do this for the next 15 minutes plus 2 laps. I don't know how that's exactly going to work out for him. And I really like when we were looking at Braden, you can see him on the cameras, how soft his rear end is. And I feel like that's something you see some of these guys when their suspension's set up. They got really pogo-y rear ends, and it definitely doesn't work well for most of the guys. You need that thing to be sitting low and settling in there, very dampened for these guys. So when you see a pogo sticky rear, that can definitely lead to problems, especially as the track gets more bumpy.
I hate having a pogo sticky rear. It's really the least of my worries at the end of the day, for sure. Always like having a soft rear. But Johnson really making it look smooth and fluid as he contains these ruts very well, going in and out of them like it's no problem. Tyler Lang back here just ahead of Colby Eaglin coming down the hill. And Leclerc has lost quite a bit of ground on these guys. He's still in the 5 spot. 214s, 213s. Really not the kind of Leclerc-ish ride we expect to see out of the 7. So if this is how it's going to be here at Thunder Valley for Leclerc today, we're going to see those red plates change hand again, especially with the way that Johnson and Carter are both riding. And remember, coming into this one, they were, I think, 5 and 6 points down, respectively, of Leclerc. So even just this one moto alone is going to turn the tides real quick on that. Back to Cooper Hunt just behind Leclerc, and Hunt has been really solid through the first 4 motos of the year, looking to continue building here in the 5th moto. 6th place right now for the 18 machine, just gliding, keeping Leclerc right behind, or right in front of him, I should say, keeping him close and honest, and maybe hoping for some late race mistakes as we move into the second half of this race now. Cocroft has settled into 7th in what is still a really good ride for him, just ahead of Jacob Hubbard. You got Cavacciuti in 9th, and you got Chase McDonald rounding out the top 10. Castellaneta, Kyle Robb also back here. Luke Sullivan, not having a great day so far. Chase Blakely, Zane Urich inside the top 15. Kyle Boardman, chat always loves Boardman. He's in 16th. Jeff Cooper is in 17th. Reno Brennan is in 18th. Jeremy Seabolt is in 19th. And Pablo Vial rounds out the top 20. Vial was one of our fastest qualifiers today too.
Yeah,
so
second
this is
fastest.
Yeah, not a good run so far for the Frenchman on the Impact 27 ride. Not too sure what's caused him to end up back here. Maybe it's a Logan Leitzel situation from our 250 class, but he is hoping to really make some damage in the second half of this race.
Does he race Supercross?
Here and there. I don't think he raced the whole season.
I haven't seen number 27 on the gate all year. I mean, it's just weird to see a national number so low when I feel like maybe we've seen him once or twice, but it's just weird to see him out here. Man, a rough showing after such a great qualifying time, but I mean, that's the thing. Maybe you can throw down the hot lap, but you're not as consistent.
No, he was good at the first round for sure. Like Fox Raceway, he was top 5 both motos, I think. So yeah, he definitely knows how to get it done.
Just a bad start, bad way through the pack. I mean, it happens to anyone. It can happen to any of these guys, even Leclerc, Johnson, Carter. I wouldn't be surprised to see a moto this year where they're like, for them, maybe like a 12th to like 10th to 15th. Like, you can have a really, really bad race in outdoors, and it can just kind of keep not going your way, and you kind of got to watch out for that. So Vial, I mean, working his way back up. We're only 18 minutes in. He's in 18th place. So with the guys in front of him, maybe he gets back up there closer to a top 10, but you got to keep kind of plugging away as you have a bad start. Just like Leitzel in that first moto, worked his way up. Got to 11th, I think, at the end, but
yeah, it looks like he still has like 4 or 5 guys like right in front of him, so there's still plenty of opportunity to make some quick passes. But then it definitely starts spreading out as you get a little bit further beyond that. So we'll keep track of Vial's progress as he tries to make up those solid points moving forward and get up to some of these other riders that we're seeing. Ooh, Luke Sullivan down on the inside rut after the mechanics area. So he was right on Kyle Robb and is going to lose touch with him. And we're back into our top 10 positions. Hubbard has made his way around Cocroft into 7th. Hunt still right behind Leclerc, Eagland, Johnson, and Carter. So Carter still putting in the moto out front here. 13 flat last time by, 17.5 second lead, and was 5 seconds a lap faster than Johnson last time by. So Johnson most likely had some sort of small fall that maybe was a legs off or maybe a long slide out of some sort, because that's a lot of time lost. And as I say that, gonna go down again. He was gonna get going this time now.
Just be right on him.
Yeah, Eagland is gonna be getting there as Johnson gets up right now, going over that little roller jump, and there is Eagland now right behind him. So battle for second is on. I think Johnson maybe has a little bit more speed in hand over Colby Eagland, but still not really the moto so far that Johnson was hoping to have in this one.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like Eagland if I'm in his position, knowing, you know, what Payson Johnson is kind of known to do, and the way he's drifted way back to you. You're kind of knowing, okay, I've been running this pace. This is kind of the time where when you're up front, you're just kind of settled into your pace, right? You're kind of starting to feel the flow. You haven't been having to make passes. Maybe you're going around lappers and stuff right here. Like we see that as Eagland actually does get into him. But you kind of just start to breathe and kind of flow. And, I mean, yeah, he's losing a little bit of time, but I feel like he still definitely feels like second place is in his future here, as he's just going to kind of try to ride around and keep going smooth. One thing I was going to say is when you're Vial and you're back in 18th like that, you kind of do get into that clear air. Do you remember maybe talking to your spotter and asking them where 10th, 12th place is on the track, and kind of, you know, you're not looking those 2 or 3 corners ahead. You're thinking, okay, I've got 12 minutes left. If I keep riding at this smooth pace, no fall-offs, like how far do I realistically think I can get? And for me, it's always a lot further than you kind of think looking at the track for these guys. If you can stay consistent and stay up.
Yeah, it's 100%. Like you would, I feel like you'd have your spotter just like say, oh, this guy is 3 sections ahead on the track or whatever, and he's 11th. You could probably get to him with a good ride or whatever. So I would think that Vial has maybe got someone helping him out. I'm not sure if it's a fellow Frenchman or maybe someone on his team that's maybe helping him out.
Even
but,
Carter, man, if he has mistakes, like first place is not out of question for Eagland right there. So, I mean,
yeah,
17 seconds. You know, you're sitting there. Okay, we got 10 minutes plus, you know, or 9 minutes plus a lap. Like, I feel like you kind of sit and you think like, okay, what could happen realistically? Braden Carter has 1 fall off, and I start putting in some good laps. I can work my way up here and at least get close. So, there's a point where it becomes unrealistic. But man, you got to kind of think of what's the best that can happen here, and just try to be positive if you're talking to some friends or a spotter. But the way Braden Carter is looking right now, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to say, if you are in third, if I'm watching Braden Carter leading right now, I'm saying he's perfectly smooth and he's going to dominate this moto. But When you're in the back, you got to think positive, right? You got to think good thoughts about where you can finally get up to.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you have to give yourself... Oh, Carter's down with the lead. He is going to retain the lead, of course, but that is a mistake there for the 9 that's going to cost him not only a lot of time, but potentially will hurt him later in this moto if he has another mistake where Johnson could close that gap down and try to take advantage. So... Oh, and then Johnson crashes in the exact same spot. Yeah, that's a weird spot to go down. Eagland is going to go by. Was Lang close enough? No, Lang was not close enough. Meanwhile, Lang has got Leclerc starting to close down on him in 4th spot. So just as Carter had made a big enough mistake to allow these guys into the picture, down they all go again.
Yeah,
Johnson...
inside there.
Yeah, everyone's kind of hitting that tough block. So Johnson, just when he was about to close up, still 18 back of Carter, and Eagland goes into the 2 ride. But Leclerc is trying to march forward and catch up to Tyler Lang. Lang has been quietly just riding in 4th place a long time in this moto. Not a real lot of pressure from behind from Leclerc. No one really right in front of him, with Johnson and Eagland getting away. But now he's kind of seeing both situations come up towards him as Johnson's just trying to get around some lap traffic.
What a bike that is.
The inverted relic purple machine, man. You know where it is at all times.
The other inverted relic guy is pacing
Johnson
down again.
Uh-oh, this is starting to feel like Hangtown Moto 2 last week, where he crashed many times in a row, and it clearly looked like he was losing interest as he just kept making too many mistakes. Now Lang is all over him in a battle for 3rd. It's the 1 of Johnson and the 5 of Lang. Lang, a little front end tuck coming out of that rut right there, lost some time. Now Johnson has to really take some deep breaths here and regroup, because otherwise he's going to see a lot of points being lost that he could have potentially gained on Leclerc in this moto.
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking you're sitting 2nd place, sitting nice and easy, and now you're kind of working your way back. I mean, it's kind of the tail. You're so fast. You're 1.6 seconds faster than the next guy, but it's this late moto. How good do you look? Now you're 13 seconds back from 2nd place. You're only 2 seconds in front of 4th, and only about 6 seconds in front of Lexus Leclerc. So you got to keep it on 2 wheels here. You can't keep doing what you're doing here. You have we still have 6 minutes plus a lap or plus 2 laps to go for these guys. So Payson Johnson definitely not out of the woodwork yet. He's got to keep it smooth, and that's just something that he has difficulty doing. I mean, he's won a title before. He's done it before, but I feel like the way that his racing has gone the last year, he's more interested in being fast and being sketchy, and it comes up to bite him. And yeah, I mean, this championship is going to go away from him really quick, just like it did in Supercross, and then you're going to be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, Johnson definitely appears to me, even though he's the defending champion and he's been in title fights basically his entire MX Simulator career, is more interested in just like the raw speed of the game and less so about salvaging points, having consistent rides, whatever it is. Like, if he's going to win titles, it's because he's just going as fast as he possibly can 100% of the time, and less so about managing a race and picking up points here and there. So he's gotten away from Lang a little bit. Leclerc is slowly inching up to Lang. I feel like this is building into a crescendo a little bit, where Leclerc is going to catch Lang with not too much time left in this race. We got 4.5 minutes or so left in this race. It's a 3-second gap, and Leclerc is going about a second faster than him. So yeah, like it's getting to that point where he'll catch him, but he's only going to catch him with about 2 laps to go, and we'll see whether or not Lang can put on the defense to keep him behind, or will Leclerc make an easy move around.
I mean, Leclerc, don't do that. Oh God. Sometimes it just seems like they're gonna just start cartwheeling. Sometimes they do, but I feel like most of the time they just kind of keep it dialed in. Leclerc, this is normally his specialty, downhill bumpy sections like that, just so smooth, high in the gears, and I think he will get up and try to make a move here. The way he's been riding the last couple laps, and the way he is able to kind of dissect these tracks when they get nasty. He's either really good on a stock track that's perfectly smooth, I don't know what that perfectly smooth track, or the most gnarly, roughest track. That's where Leclerc shines. It's a little bit in the middle where he struggles. But, I mean, just like that, 7 tenths, 8 tenths lost there, but I do still think he can work his way up. He's got 4 minutes plus 2 laps to get his way up into the spot. I think Lang needs to keep his rear view mirror, eyes on the rear view, and see what's happening behind him.
Yeah, it seems like this gap is yo-yoing ever so slightly, and honestly, battle for the lead is on. Wow, I just noticed that the green dot was not that far away. Eagland is suddenly right there, and Johnson is only going to be about 9 seconds off of the lead. So Colby Eagland has reeled in Braden Carter in what I can only imagine is some crashing for Carter. Maybe just one big crash, though, because Eaglin was only about 12 seconds back, and Eaglin goes down just as I say that. Kicks sideways on that roller on the inside line, and Johnson is going to go back into second place around his teammate as Eaglin gets going now just before Lang gets there, and then Leclerc. So this is tightening up once again. Like, the leader is not that far away from 5th place in this race, and we still have 3 minutes and 2 laps left to go. Anything could happen down the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, one fall from either of these guys, and you're talking dropping anywhere from 1 to 3 positions, depending on which one you are, and this is all inside the top 5. These guys definitely separating themselves from the rest of the field. It's hard in the Nationals here because, especially with how deep this class has kind of gotten, to kind of work your way back and show. I do like that whip. Just like...
Johnson down again, hit his head on that inside hay bale, and there goes Eaglin back through. Will Lang get there? Lang will just get by. So Lang now into 3rd. Johnson has slipped back to 4th, and suddenly Leclerc doesn't just see the 5 in front of him. He also sees the 1 machine as they come down the hill. Look at this. Johnson's going to try that inside crossover line again, and he absolutely murders Lang with a brutal crossover takeout move. He's been trying that all moto long, and he finally crosses over and puts Lang on the ground. It cost him another position, though, as Leclerc goes by, and that is points, critical points for Johnson being lost by just simply riding over his head.
I feel like you get penalized for that if you're on probation, but...
I mean, I see what he was trying to do. He kept trying to block that line off so that the guy around the outside would have to back off the challenge. But man, that was
just a takeout. The guy's got to
be
like
he crossed over 4 ruts,
bike lengths back, so that he has time to hit the brakes. I don't know, dude. There's just not going on.
I would love to see Lang get to him though, because I want to see what Lang does if he gets to Johnson's rear tire again. But Johnson's got bigger problems, man. He's got to worry about the fact that Leclerc and Carter are both outscoring him in this moto again. And it was a moto where Johnson was in a position where he could maybe just outright catch Carter on speed, and now he's crashed his way back behind Eaglin, crashed his way behind Leclerc again, and Carter is on his way to probably a pretty comfortable moto win in the end, even though it got really chaotic there. 3 laps to go this time by with just less than a minute left on the clock, but Carter has got a pretty substantial margin over our 2nd place man Eaglin and our 3rd place man Leclerc here.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you have Eaglin kind of the guys in 2nd and 3rd in points. They're not completely right behind you, so you got a little bit of a buffer there. Guys going back. This top 4 and 5, I feel like, are going to be the ones we're going to see all year long as we kind of sort through and see the guys that are kind of pulling away. But yeah, it's good to see him out front, just with a commanding lead. But Leclerc, man, such a strong ride from being further back, working his way up through adversity, and kind of able to bring this thing back. I mean, he's still working his way forward here too. Like you said, there's still a lot of time left. Nothing's over, but Leclerc is just, dude, he's so good. It's just, I mean, red plate, he might be losing it shortly, but I mean, not if he keeps putting in rides like this. You know, he does have to beat Leclerc, but just so solid, consistent. And this is going to be an all year long battle, I think, between Carter and Leclerc.
Yeah, well, I mean, even Johnson, I feel like, is going to just constantly be in the mix, depending on whether or not he loses more points, but he's catching Leclerc in this fight for 3rd place again. I mean, Johnson is not done with the 7 machine, and finally, we're going to see a late race battle between Leclerc and Johnson, which is what we're always hoping for out of these two of the fastest riders in the history of the game, set to do battle for 3rd place right here, and I wonder how Leclerc races him. I think they're pretty square with each other right now, but you never know. Once we get past that 30-minute mark, it's like the gloves come off.
Yeah, I mean, Leclerc, when you're ahead, I mean, you don't have anything to worry about here. I feel like it's keep an eye and see what Payson does right here if he can catch him. But I mean, they do have a lot of time left. You still got what, a lap and a half to go? Maybe 2.5 laps?
Yeah, I think they're coming to 2 to go this time by, actually.
So 2 to go. So there's still a lot of time left, but I don't know if Payson can get on him with the way that Leclerc's been as the track's been getting rough, just kind of working his way forward. Payson seems to dive bomb, and his bike has a lot more action in these ruts and bumps. I feel like he's not going to be able to stay as smooth and kind of catch up to Leclerc. But I mean, we're going to have to sit and watch and see, but he looks like he's getting jerked around. It looks really rough in first person. It
definitely looks like the track has gotten pretty gnarly in a lot of those main lines as we crest past the 30-minute mark. So like I said, 2-lap board is now out. Carter has taken it out front, And then this is now the battle for second. Eagland has slipped behind these guys. So not sure what happened to the 24 machine, but this is suddenly a battle for 2 and 3 on the racetrack. And Johnson, oh, Leclerc, I think he got blocked out by a lapped rider going down, and Johnson now moves back into second place. Eagland is now fourth right behind these guys, and Lang is still back here. Maybe, I think, hoping that Johnson has another mistake and allows him back into the picture. But Johnson finally back into the second position, trying to sneak away from Leclerc and Eagland behind him. Now, the real question is that the last time we see Johnson go down? Oh, almost goes down right there. I feel like we got one more crash in him, I feel.
Well, I agree. He's about half a knobby from going down in a million of these sections here. He looks just not comfortable at all. Leclerc looked like going down because of a lap rider. I don't know how Eagland went down, but some people saw him off the side of the track. So going to be interesting. He doesn't have too much time here, and just like that, like, look at, you can only do that so many times before it finally bites you. So going to be an interesting next basically full 2 laps still almost. These guys not too far from the finish line, definitely not halfway around the racetrack. So there's definitely a lot of time for these guys to make some mistakes here, and Leclerc definitely wants to get back in front and kind of pull away a little bit more. As far as Eagland, right, wants some redemption and able to get back up there as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that if you're Lang as well, you just want to get back up there and battle with Johnson. Leclerc has kept him honest, to be fair, though. Even though Leclerc had that slide out, he has stayed right about that 2-second gap back to Johnson ahead of him. And hey, this isn't over for the race win yet either. It's only 9 seconds to Carter. If Carter has a late crash here,
because he was 19 and a half seconds.
It's now just 8.5, so Carter's got to get a little nervous here coming to the white flag. We've seen how ridiculously gnarly this track has gotten, and now Carter's going to take the white flag with just an 8-second advantage, trying to navigate through some lap traffic, downed riders and such. And Carter is looking for a huge first moto win here. He'd be the first rider this year to win 2 motos after we've seen 4 different moto winners to start the first 2 rounds, but the white flag is waving. And Leclerc has gotten around Johnson as Johnson has slipped back to 4th, and then Lang is going to be not too far behind him as we come and take the white flag. So this could get interesting between those two. Meanwhile, Eagland is trying to keep Leclerc honest just ahead of him as they go through the rollers, and it changes up and down again.
Yeah, definitely had that fall that we were waiting on there. We knew it was going to happen, just how soon. And he's able to kind of get back through. Alexis Leclerc, though, back where he wants to be right now. And man, just the fight between these guys, how long they're able to do this. We're 34 and a half minutes into this moto on the last lap. You've still got changes for the first couple positions here, as we see these guys just battling all the way through. And this is only the first time these guys have to do it out of 2. So Leclerc able to kind of fight back his way. 10 seconds off from Carter. Still a crash could bring it in close. Eagland 12 seconds, Payson 14, Lang 20 seconds back.
Oh, so Johnson down
again. So T-Lang is going to get by easily. Should be with.
Yeah, he's just ahead of him. Man, you could imagine if Johnson catches him late in this race, though. Like a couple turns to go and Johnson catches him. Oh, I don't want to be a fly on the wall in the RaceFactory rig after this. But you can see Eagland still just right there trying to size up Leclerc. And Leclerc weaving through lap traffic. I mean, there's a lot of lappers in this group right now. I don't know if they just happen to find like a big clump of them or what, but even Leclerc still stuck behind a couple more lapped riders. Trying to see, is that Blakely on the 21 maybe? I think that Leclerc is trying to lap and he goes down. But it's all this man at the front of the field right now. Braden Carter with just a few turns left to go down past the mechanics area. It's not going to be enough to take the championship lead away from Alexis Leclerc just yet. But man, you talk about building momentum after winning that 3rd Supercross title, rolling into outdoors, not being a guy that's known for winning outdoor races, and coming in, winning the 4th moto of the season. And now he's about to be the first 2-time moto winner of the year. Braden Carter takes 450 Moto 1 at Thunder Valley.
That's how you do it back.
Look at this, Leclerc versus Eagland to the flag. Eagland gets the triple over the top, and Leclerc has to get to the inside line. Eagland is going to steal it at the line. He is going to finish 2nd, Leclerc 3rd. Johnson got back around Lang somehow, some way. Didn't see where it happened or how, but Johnson will come through. Oh, lap traffic in the way there. It was Holm who was down, and Johnson finished this one in 4th. Lang going to be right behind him at the flag in 5th. Only 20 seconds separating our top 5, and it was every bit as entertaining as we expected from that group. Quiet 6th in this one for Cooper Hunt in the end, as he put a big gap on Luke Sullivan. Sullivan 7th. Dylan Cavacciuti is 8th. Seabolt is in a heavy battle with Hubbard for 9th. And you also have Castellaneta right behind them. So a lapped rider, then Seabolt, then Hubbard, then Castellaneta is what you're seeing on your screen.
God.
Seabolt just trying to get around that lapped rider and try to get away from those two Phil's Kawasaki's, but they want a piece of the 10 machine coming down the hill.
Dude, this battle for a top 10, look how far 6th place already finished, and you're still out here. You got almost a quarter of the track to go, it feels like, with these guys. So Seabolt just trying to fight off these guys late. Looks like we dropped one of the Phil's Kawasaki's there. Maybe another one as well made a mistake in that rut. Seabolt might have some breathing room here. Let's see when we change cameras. No, maybe got a little bit of time on Hubbard, though. But, yeah, definitely lost his teammate there. Hubbard's still trying to go, man. You got to just keep sticking with it. Just like you saw with Leclerc losing that spot. Anything can happen late. Eaglin getting that pass. Who knows what's going to happen? Seabolt could make a mistake even here, so keep an eye on it. Keep as close as you can. Who knows where cuts are? And he makes it over the triple cleanly. Looks like Seabolt is going to come through and still take 9th place, though. But 2 top 10s for both these riders here. Jacob Hubbard didn't get the whole shit, but gets 10th place. Pablo Vial,
hey, got back to 11th. Yeah.
I mean, we said maybe 10 to 12, and look at that.
Yep, did a good job, and it was close at the flag with Castellaneta nearly just pipping him by a 10th of a second. But Cocroft ended up sliding back into 13th. Still a pretty good run for him. Kyle Robb 14th, and then Chase McDonald, last guy on the lead lap there. So Zane Urich picks up 16th, 17th for Reno Brennan, 18th for Adam Holm, 19th was Trevin Thompson, and the final points paying position there was Chase Blakely. So we'll wait for those cuts to come in. Still waiting for one more rider to finish off, and we'll see what the penalties look like, see if anything changed. It's like 1 position lost for Urich, which slides to 17th in the end. No, he's 16th, so that's fine. Anything else? Let's see. Those guys are good. That's good there. Good there. Yeah, it all stayed the same otherwise. So Braden Carter, Moto 1 winner, Braden Carter, and first 2-time Moto winner of the year. Pretty good stuff out of the 9 machine right there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he just looks so good. Like, I feel like his suspension, he just looks so much more smooth. Leclerc started to look that way as well at the end. Just the way that they're able to pick apart the track late in the motos. But, man, they're just kind of on another level than those guys, it seems. But, man, I mean, I wasn't expecting that race to end up that close as it ended up being there. Sorry, I'll sit up a little bit. What do you get there? White Russian?
Huh?
What do you get there?
A little pina colada.
Wow.
And keep it rolling. Look, you got a second drink and didn't bring me one, so I had to ask
the
for help.
fridge was empty. I'm gonna have to text the wife too, get myself a little bartender action.
She left, dude. She's gone. You got to go get your own drinks now.
I'm gonna go get a bottle.
Bottle. All right, so first moto's in the books. Pretty good racing so far. Good to see kind of the battles throughout the field. What do we expect from Moto 2s? Do we think kind of the same mix 250, 450 group guys we're going to see up there? Chwalik, Shirley, Matherly getting away in the 250 class in that first moto. We see them again, or maybe we see, Balzer, Leitzel? Who else gets up there?
I feel like 250 is a little bit more start dependent than those guys. When you've got Balzer, Balzer had such a bad start. Leitzel 40th place for like 2 laps, it seems. So, I mean, when you're 4 or 5 minutes in, you're still back 35th plus. That's rough for him. I think Leitzel gets a start. He'll be up in that top 3 pretty easy. And these guys they figured out the track, and most of them probably took 10, 15 minutes off, but you kind of get back on towards the end of that 450 moto. You start riding the track around a little bit, and it has those ruts broken into it. So I think these guys are going to be a lot better in Moto 2. The guys that had really rough starts, and I would look for those guys. Yeah, anyone who started outside the top 7, 10 in this 250 class to kind of be back up there. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Leitzel might be able to win. Like, for how much he came back, I didn't really see his individual lap times, but he looks good. If he starts inside the top 5, I wouldn't be surprised to see him come out here and take this dub.
Well, he hasn't had a moto win yet this year through 5 motos, and he won a lot last year. And I know it hasn't been the same Logan Leitzel. We saw him race 450 Supercross this year, and it wasn't the same that we expected out of him from what we saw outdoors last year. But it's got to be coming at some point, right? That same level of rides that we saw from Leitzel last year, it's in there still somewhere. It has to be.
Yeah, you don't really lose, like, I mean, if you took a complete season off and we didn't see you ride any Supercross or anything, like you never showed up anywhere, I would really be surprised to see him up there and kind of say that. But when you've seen them kind of go in and out, you don't lose that sort of speed, you know. Jack Haley, you know, I'm just trying to think of like a title winner. You put a solid 2 weeks in the riding outdoors, like that guy will easily be like top 3 out here. You know, you stop playing other games, you stop just League of Legends and MX Bikes and all these other things. If you play Sim for a week or two and you've been at that level, you'll be good. Matt Burkeen, freaking, you know, anyone back to Tyson Fresquez, I feel like that's been a title guy, you can always come back and be at that pace. So, I mean, you never count the guy out with the number 1 plate. You know, they're never that far removed from being able to do it. And yeah, he got a bad start, but working your way to 10th from 40th, I'd like to see any of these guys kind of do that, you know, just for an experiment. I bet you most of them probably couldn't do that. So I think he's definitely a threat. Janice, if he doesn't have the early race mistakes, he can definitely pull back in. So, I mean, he got that great hole shot. And then was just, you know, faded, had a couple big mistakes, but still finished up there inside the top 5, top 10. So some of these guys just got to eliminate mistakes. But Matherly, man, he's the one to beat today.
Yeah, he looked really good in that first moto. Let's see if he can roll it into Moto 2. Studio 8 hole shot picks. Awood, who you got?
I don't know yet. You pick first.
All right, I will pick. This time, I think I'm going to go... I'm gonna go Seth Carr.
I still want to see the gate pick. I really feel like there's about 3 or 4 gates that you can get a whole shot unless you get a crazy jump. So
I'll pick Seth Carr. So
okay,
you let me know on the start.
I'm gonna keep one in my head for a panic pick, but I'm gonna look at the gate as well. And you can get mad, but Alex is gonna pay us. So
yeah, I don't know what the wager is. I think it's still $5, Alex.
It's okay.
I don't remember what it is, but yeah, extra guy right now crushing it. Love to see extra guy getting in there. Maybe we'll make shirts. Extra guy.
I'll wear one. I was told that I was blowing Alexis Leclerc.
Don't we all?
I mean, he is number 1. I still have his
number
pitboard
1.
somewhere around here.
It was his hat, Mr. Krabs.
All right, let's see what we got here.
All right, let's see who's gonna get the all-important. Yeah, looks like we're already dropping the gate.
God,
we are off and running. Shirley, he's picking Shirley. He's going to get the whole shot up the inside. It's Janice again, I think. And it's Matthias Janice, 2 for 2 with the Studio 8. Oh, shots! He leads the field up the hill on the first lap of the race. Bryce Whelan in second was going to be my backup pick with a good start there on the 31. You got Leitzel with a great jump this time. He's in third. You also have Tharp up here in the mix. Balzer with a great start on the 35. Matherly is up in the mix here on the 25 as well. So a lot of the top contenders as Whelan goes down, stacks it. Leitzel hits him. Look at the absolute chaos. It's a bloodbath at the bottom of the hill. Matherly is in the middle of it in those red boots on the Yamaha. He's picking it up behind all these guys. And Leitzel's down again, exiting the corner. So Logan Leitzel just having a terrible time off the start of these races. Looking like Jeremy Martin out there with just terrible luck on the first lap. I mean, J-Mart had 3 other races other than his arm getting smashed. That were terrible
he was
starts.
terrible. Yeah.
So,
I had him on my fantasy team multiple times.
Yeah, so just not a good look there for Logan Leitzel, but it is Matthias Janice leading the way from Rasmus Balzer early on, and we got a lot of heavy hitters that are buried in the field right now, so this is going to really kind of shake up the overall results, and I feel like Balzer wants a piece of the race lead as he closes up on Janice.
Yeah, I mean, you see those big pileups. I mean, it's crazy. That's what 1, 2, 3, 5 corners in, but you've got 5 different ruts there. But the way that people fall, oh my god,
balls are upside down.
That was sick. That was so sick. You've got 5 different ruts, but you got all those guys going into it, and people aren't just falling in the rut. They're falling there over a couple, and we saw basically everyone but the top 5 in this race was caught up in that pile up at some form, whether you're down off the bike, dropping back, or you just had a tip over, you lost some time. So it's really going to help these guys to have a great start. Balzer and Janice here, they're going to be duking it out here for a while without any pressure from anyone unless they make any big mistakes. I don't expect anyone to be catching these guys for a while. Look at how big
at
that
that
gap
gap,
is.
yeah.
It's like 10, 12 seconds there behind him. Just checked out right now. And this is, oh, you can't make a mistake like that early.
Oh, Balzer thought about it, and then
over on him.
Janice shut the door.
Euro on Euro crime.
Connor Linz is in third, by the way, and the chat's going absolutely bananas because they love their favorite Brit hanging out in the 3 spot right now early in the runnings. But it is all Matthias Janis versus Rasmus Balzer at the front of this race, and they are going for it. Balzer scrubbing down that uphill step up, trying to get the power down on that Suzuki to the top of the hill. He crosses over lines, almost lays it down, but keeps it on 2 wheels, and he's still going to be right in the fight as he comes down the hill to this inside line. Kind of stands it up a little bit, and so Janis is going to take advantage of this, kind of sneak away. It's not a big gap, but it's better than it was.
Yeah, I mean, better than it was when you're within 1 second to 2 seconds early on when you're in the lead and you're kind of, these guys are pushing, right? The last time they really rode the track as far as complete race pace being in a battle was when it was fully broken in, a bunch of ruts and bumps everywhere. And now these guys are running, yeah, they're pre-groomed in ruts. Oh, just like that, Janis makes a huge mistake. Balzer up the inside. Don't know, didn't really see him make a huge like slowdown or kind of knife his tire, but just like that, he gets by. These guys are racing on a more freshly groomed track though than they're used to, so you do have to kind of watch how much you push the limits in those ruts. Just like that though, Balzer in the lead, and now he's the one with the 1 second lead, and he's the one trying to check out and get away from Janis.
Yeah, I think Janis, his rear tire just slightly kicked out of that rut coming down the hill, and it just slowed him up enough that Balzer took advantage. But Janis is trying to keep him honest here. Balzer really got that inside rut really clean right there. So Balzer now leads from Janis. We'll come back to this fight in just a minute. Lucas Brun was in third. He's down. That puts Tom Quinault up into third. And Quinault, I believe, finished 40th in the first moto. He did not have a good first moto. He did indeed finish 40th. So to be third on the second start, got to be loving it right now for the Ambaro 815. You got Emmanuel Cepeda up in fourth. Luke Fauser now finds his way into the top 5 with Brun picking it up in 6th. Colin Allen is 7th with Bryce Whelan in 8th. Cade Matherly has regrouped well from that crash. He is 9th, with John Heilman rounding out the top 10. Seth Carr 11th, Seth Crotty 12th, Gers 13th, Linz 14th, Badani 15th, Nichols 16th, Leitzel 17th, Nygren 18th, Horn 19th, and then Brett Powers just ahead of Jacob Kelly, Evan Holt, Braden Tharp, Partillo, Spicer, Adams, Gatlin, Blowers coming through, Alex Burns, Alex Zellner, Hayden Stevenson, Seth Shirley, all the way back here with Talon Zollers, Tanner Rogers, Austin Schaefer, Caden Speck, Evan Vanderkoy bringing it up here in 37th, Noah Baker 38th, and third in our first moto, Max Chwalik 39th, dead last on the track right now. So some heavy hitters like Shirley and Chwalik absolutely buried right now, and they're going to have to do exactly what we saw out of Leitzel in the first moto. They got to charge forward, man.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just to get back in the championship, race. That's not to go out there and get a top 3 or something overall. You got to do that just to get up into points, get a couple points salvage off of your great first moto ride. You can't be going out there putting up a 0 spot 5th moto of the year out of 22. It's just not going to cut it. Seth Shirley got a long way to work his way up to. You see him out here, maybe using different lines. These guys, maybe not the same speed, and just kind of you get flustered, right? If you weren't able to put your head back on your shoulders like Leitzel's able to last moto, it can definitely get really frustrating back here, and some guys will never make it out and back up in the points. It's just such a dog-eat-dog kind of competition back here as you're dealing with these other guys. So it's going to be interesting to watch Shirley and Twalik and see how far they can make it up. There's one spot right there, but man, it's just a different level than racing at the front for some of these guys when you get thrown back there.
Oh,
just like that, look
Shirley.
at that off the bike, because you go inside, someone crosses over, and just like that, there's 5 or 6 spots, 7, 8 spots you're work towards, and now you're back in 38th. So
yep, gonna get going just in front of Evmuth there on the Sunbelt program. So Shirley just is not having a good time out here tonight. Really got to pick it up in the second moto and charge forward. And there is so many riders still nose to tail. Connor Linz, after being third early on, has slipped back to 25th. So a rough go for the 357, and he's down again. You hate to see it for Connor Linz on the FXR program. We'll see if he can figure it out, though. Let's work our way back towards the front as you see where everybody is in the running order at this stage of the race as we go through the field. Matherly on Whelan there, and then you got Fauser, Quinault, Janis, and And then our race leader, Balzer, who has got some time in hand now. 12-second lead, 2:13.1 last time by for the Yogi Designs rider. And this is kind of the Balzer I feel like we expected to see coming off his 250 East Supercross Championship run where he was so good, won so many races consecutively to claw from 28 points back in the championship and then clinch the championship around early. So this is what I feel like I was expecting to see out of Balzer this year outdoors. Haven't seen it until now, but man, he looks good out front.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely looks really good, and Supercross and Motocross, they're not completely the same, but damn, do they translate when you are just a good rider, man. You've gone through some pressure. You don't really have that. You can definitely, you know you got speed. If you can win one, you can win the other, I feel. But man, just to get up front here, and now he's trying to kind of run away with this moto, and having a bad first, not bad, but you haven't won a moto 4 races in, then this one you're kind of starting to check out. Good start, able to kind of get through some pressure, and now you're working your way just on your own. I feel like this is going to build a lot of confidence if he can ride the rest of this moto and bring it all the way home. Look at that gap he's got behind him. He's got nothing to worry about. He can throw some whips, be comfortable, and just kind of ride his own race. And I think this could be the start of something really impressive if Balzer is able to ride this home. Feel like, hey, it's never too late to get started on your championship run. You saw that in Supercross, and definitely got a lot more points to make up outdoors. So I think he's going to be able to build on this a lot if he can hold it on.
Yeah, he definitely looks way more comfortable at this round than he did at Hangtown and Fox Raceway. And bad starts really hindered him at those first 2 rounds. But even so, just didn't look like the riding was at the level that we're seeing out of the number 35 machine right now. So Jan is still second, Quinault third, Colin Allen is charged into fourth, and then we got a crazy battle going on right here. Fowler, Whelan, and Matherly 5, 6, 7 right now. So Fowler is having a great run right now on the 82 ride inside of the top 5. But he's got a couple more experienced 250 class veterans in Bryce Whelan and Cade Matherly breathing down his neck. Matherly, our Moto 1 winner, hoping to turn it around in this early stages of this second moto, charge forward and maybe still win this overall. Unofficially right now, Balzer is in position to win the overall with a 5-1. Shout out to Jordan Patash in chat for keeping us up to date on that status. But Matherly, if he can sneak into the top 5, will definitely put his name in the list, and he's going to get around Fowler up the inside into the first corner right here. Into 6th place goes the 25 machine.
Yeah, I mean, all he's got to do when you get that early win, you just got to keep clicking things off. You're battling a 5-1 with the overall. Was that a position?
Yeah, that was Fowler getting back by him.
Cowie, so I guess not. But Fowler got back by him. But if you're looking at a 5-1 getting the overall and you won the first moto, you're just looking at, okay, can I get up into that 4th place position, keep it working? There's no one else in front of me. And just like that, he gets right by Fowler. Fowler looks like he let him by. So
yeah, Fowler I think was making a mistake coming down the hill and didn't want to get in the way of Matherly charging up the inside of him. So Matherly gets back through. Into 5th place he now goes.
Only 3 seconds back of Whelan. Whelan had a lot of big mistakes as we got further deep into that moto earlier. So going to be interesting to see as the track breaks down. We're only a third of the way through this moto. So what do you think he's going to do as this track kind of breaks down? Do you think he learned his lessons, or maybe he's just not as comfortable on the more deteriorated tracks?
Yeah, I don't know. This is going to be an interesting case study with Whelan, who usually is more of a Supercross guy, but right now looking pretty solid at the start of this race. And it also showed the difference in the way that setups are going. Oh my gosh. Wow. My wife is way, way too good for me. I tell you that much, folks. As she brings Andrew Wood a drink, even though she's supposed to be out and about right now, she just brought more drinks up. So
I think she said a wine cooler.
Yeah. So Doolies, Whelan and Quinault tossing it for 3rd place right now. Quinault down the inside retains the position, but Whelan around this outside line might make it happen coming down the hill. Just blows that run a little bit too much, and Quinault holds the spot. Matherly trying to sneak up into the picture here, and this is a great little fight right now as we got 3, 4, 5 basically on the screen together.
I got 2 garnishes in my drink right now. I'm trying to take a photo so I can post it up. But man, look at Whelan, just a mistake there. Look at Matherly up the inside. Matherly's gonna take the spot right here up the inside rut. He doesn't have the inside here, but see how fast he can go around the outside here. Can he get a drive? No, he doesn't. Maybe he hasn't been taking that. You don't want to charge too much into a rut that you haven't taken all race long. Gonna settle in right behind Whelan. So now this is a 3-person battle. Matherly, Whelan, and Fowler as they're trying to push up here. Or no, not Fowler.
Quinault, yeah.
Quinault. No gear, kind of messed me up. But so
Yeah.
these 3 riders right here, look at that. Matherly using alternate lines, outside lines. Going to be interesting to see what he can do. I feel like a twofer is coming up for Matherly here as we get into some of these tight sections.
Could be, and it really could come at these downhill sections, which we've seen a few guys. Wow, Bryce Whelan. I don't know how he made that stick on the inside. Quinault goes outside. Whelan to the inside. Does he go for the Payson Johnson murder line? No, he stays tight and tidy on the inside and tries to make that pass cleanly. Quinault fights back, pushes him out, and retains a position. Matherly is right there, and also closing up is Seth Carr. So Seth Carr is getting into this fight. 3, 4, 5, 6 on the racetrack, going for it. Whelan's trying to get Quinault. Matherly taking a completely different line, outside to in, doesn't get there. Carr has caught them all and is trying to pass them all around the outside coming down the hill right here. Where did he come from? Matherly around the outside to the inside of Whelan, gets a spot, lands on Quinault's rear tire and somehow doesn't stack it.
Look at Carr,
moves around,
line.
and Carr gets around. He tees up into the
God.
back of Matherly's tire. I don't know how he doesn't have a legs off right there as they're still side by side over this triple. Matherly shorts, Whelan up the inside, Carr to the outside, makes the pass, and Carr now into the 4th spot, now right behind Quinault. And you also got to look out because Colin Allen's coming down the hill right behind these guys as well. Quinault is kind of starting to hold up this freight train a little bit, and this is turning into a 5-rider battle before long, with Whelan caught right in the middle of it and Allen at the caboose as he's caught up.
Yeah, Carr said, I don't care what you guys are doing. I'm the one who's going to get a twofer. I'm in the catbird seat right now, and look at that. He worked his way up, and now he's still working on Quinault, but these 5 right here are so close. This is such a great battle here. Look at these guys slicing and dicing, bumping into each other. It's going to be interesting to see what this battle looks like half a lap later from now, but man, these guys have been going for over half a lap. Just like that, Whelan going to lose a spot again. Or Matherly able to go back up towards Quinault.
Yeah.
Or no, not Matherly. Sorry,
He
that was
did-
Carr again.
Yeah.
Past Whelan. Whelan back up the inside, though. Can Whelan stick inside of him? He's got the inside. Carr goes out to the 3rd rut. He's going to lose some time as well. Quinault, now Seth Carr battling back.
Oh,
Just like
Whelan.
that, Whelan is going to get, not 2, just 1.
They're
No, he's
drag
got the
racing.
outside.
Carr gets up to the inside,
Oh
makes the
my
pass.
God.
There's still nose to tail. 5 riders in line as Matherly was passed by Colin Allen. Then he passed him back around the outside. Seth Carr finally breaks through the Tom Quinault dam and moves up into 3rd place. Whelan's trying to figure out his way by. Matherly is right behind these guys as Quinault kind of gets stood up behind Carr. Up the inside goes Whelan at the top of the hill trying to make the pass. Launching down the hill, forces the issue to the outside line and passes Quinault. Everyone funnels to this outside line except the inside move of Colin Allen, who crosses over the ruts, doesn't quite make it happen. Now Matherly stacked up by Quinault. Quinault goes to the outside, Matherly inside. He makes the pass on Quinault, and here comes Allen to the inside trying to make the pass back on Tom Quinault to move up into now 6th position. Quinault fighting back to the inside of Matherly, not going to get there, and it's still just back and forth between all of these guys, fighting it out as Carr came from behind all of them and is now in 3rd place with Whelan in 4th, Matherly 5th, Quinault 6th, but maybe not for long because Colin Allen around the outside moves up into 6th place and pushes Quinault all the way back to 7th from 3rd. Unbelievable.
Man, Quinault, he had the speed, but he just wasn't able to kind of take the heat right there. Now he's going to find him settled in. Look how spread out these guys are. Now it's about half a second between all of these guys, so they're going to be able to settle into their spot wherever they landed. And look, you still have all 5 right here chasing each other. It's going to be interesting to see if Quinault... Oh, Allen goes down hard, gets a kick going into that rut. Quinault's able to ride away from him. That creates more of a gap between Matherly and the rest, but are these guys going to be able to kind of settle in and kind of remount a charge? That's going to be interesting to see if this group tightens back up again. That was one of the best battles I've seen in a while, maybe the best battle all year between 5 different guys going for almost 2 full laps. That was awesome right there. But Bryce Whelan now, he's trying to work his way back up.
That's Seth Carr.
Carr's trying to, Carr's trying to hold on, man. Bryce Whelan just back and forth, yo-yoing, and he clips. He's gonna go down.
It stays up,
but
but loses a spot to Matherly. Carr, by the way, I don't know how he did it. He clipped the single jump going up it and just kind of popped off it and beautifully landed the triple instead of like going over the bars like everybody else has on that jump here tonight. So Carr retains 3rd place. Matherly up to 4th. Whelan now in 5th. They're still pretty far behind Janice, who's all by himself in 2nd. And Rasmus Balzer has absolutely left everybody. I don't know where this has come from for Rasmus Balzer here tonight. He has looked really solid in the race lead. Has to avoid some lap traffic right there. But Balzer 17 seconds out front at the halfway mark of this one. And you can see the gap back to Janice. I mean, he's not even in the same section. Balzer is in and out of this little middle part of the racetrack right here before Janice even gets to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just these guys are, man, the way they're able to ride as these tracks break down, it's super impressive here. Janice, though, this is only your second place rider, 16 seconds back right now. Carr, another 16 seconds back. So Janice has just ended up kind of completely by himself in this race here. I mean, not really much to do besides battle the track and kind of take what you did, what you learned from the first moto, and kind of keep using it as this track breaks down. You still have 13 minutes plus 2 laps to go. And you're sitting out here kind of in no man's land. It can kind of get really hard to focus. You know, sometimes you kind of get locked in, you just kind of go and time kind of disappears. But sometimes you kind of are like, okay, is this race ever going to end? And then it gets very difficult. So Janice just kind of got to keep going out there, hit his marks, and kind of try to keep his mind locked in here for the rest of this race, because it's hard to see any way that he goes all the way up to first or kind of works his way all the way back to where third is right now. So just got to hit your marks and kind of settle in for a little bit of a boring race for himself, but I mean a great race to end up second place.
Yeah, it looks pretty comfortable in his position, not really able to make too many inroads on Balzer. Seth Carr, though, is kind of all by himself now in third. Matherly and Whelan are going at it in fourth, and that's actually a change for the overall win right there. Matherly moving into fourth now sits on a 1-4, whereas Balzer is now on a 5-1. So Matherly back in a position where he would clinch the overall victory with this fourth place in Moto number 2. Whelan trying to keep him honest, though, and Whelan, first moto wasn't too great for Bryce Whelan, so he's really trying to make amends for this one. Didn't go his way whatsoever. Trying to see where he ended up finishing, actually. And just not coming across it. There it is, 10th. So Bryce Whelan was 10th in the first moto, now 5th in this second one. Colin Allen has Tom Quinault still right behind him. Johnny Padani, and Leitzel has now made it up into 9th. So Leitzel, who was down early, but he was down with Matherly, and Matherly's definitely done a better job charging forward. Luke Fauser rounds out our top 10. You got Gerst 11th, Nygren 12th, Powers 13th, Cepeda 14th. Lucas Brune in 15th. Sonny Spicer is 16th, but he's side by side with Seth Shirley, who we were trying to figure out where the 44 machine went to. He is our championship leader, but with a ride like this, you maybe are kissing that red plate goodbye. I mean, there is so much mixed bag of results going on here tonight. You never really know. You might still walk away with the red plate, even not finishing inside of the top 10. But you cannot have these types of rides if you're Shirley, especially early in this championship, giving up huge amounts of points that you really need late in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like these guys kind of realize it so much in the Supercross championship that we just got out of. You can have maybe one small mistake, but you have one big race, and we saw multiple people lose championships by having one big bad round. So if you're Shirley, and these guys, the guys that you're kind of racing against, have started to get so consistent, you can't go out there and have one really bad finish. You need to stay consistent all year long. Your worst finish should be, a 4th or 5th if you're really fighting for a championship. Maybe you can afford one, but man, it's really going to hurt points early to be all the way back at 15th place. It's not fun to get 6 points when the other guys are getting 25 for a moto win. So Shirley really needs to kind of put his head down for this last 10 minutes or so. 10 minutes plus 2 laps, maybe 14 minutes to get back up here and try to gain as many points as he can. But you got to just take away the whole beginning of the race and kind of settle down and take a deep breath and start kind of knocking off positions.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do right now. He's caught up to Lucas Brune. He's going to the outside of Brandon Nygren. Look at that. Way around the outside, turns to the inside, and that's a nice 2-for-1 pass, actually putting Nygren almost on the ground in the process, but Shirley making amends right there and trying to work his way forward. So that's now 13th, I believe, yes, for Shirley. Trying to get into the top 10, but even after he gets around Brett Powers, it's going to be tough to do that. 17 seconds back of 11th place right now is Donut MX. It is Gerst in 11th. He's right behind Fauser, so that's a nice little battle going on for P10. Let's see if the 82 of Fauser can hold off the 42 of Gerst. Gerst down the inside, but this turns to the outside on these downhill rollers. Really tough spot to pass. Very one line, and Fauser crosses up and goes down. So Gerst continues on now in 10th spot. Fauser will have to regroup and try to maintain his position. 9th for Leitzel, 8th for Allen, 7th Quinault, 6th for Padani, 5th for Whelan, 4th for Matherly, 3rd for Carr, 2nd for Janice, and our leader continues to be Balzer. So are we seeing any other mixed bag of rides in here? Looks like everyone's kind of spread out a little bit. There is Allen around the outside of Quinault on the 351. Yeah, just right on the very edge of the racetrack, going through those Cherby stakes. and makes the pass on Quinault. I feel like Quinault is riding really good, but he's unfortunately been kind of a little bit of the roadblock for a lot of the battles so far here in this moto.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for him, though. He had a great start, and he was riding up front, right? We first saw him third, and then he's kind of shuffled his way back. But, I mean, for some of these guys, he might be sitting here and being like, man, that was one of my best rides ever. You know, you start up front, you hold on to a high position, you work your way back, a little Vince Freeze-esque, but able to kind of, you know, maybe you haven't finished up inside the top 10, 12, or whatever, and you work your way back, but not as far as getting a good start. So, I mean, I feel like you still have something to build on if you get a good start and you can run up front for a little bit, no matter how far back you're shuffled. So, I mean, Quinault still holding on to 9th place in front of Gerst, got a big gap there. So, I mean, he could still work his way back up a little bit here, too. Some of these guys having a lot of big mistakes as we get late in the moto here. But, yeah, field's starting to thin out a little bit, and kind of people settling into where they feel like they should be, maybe besides Leitzel, who, once again, had another bad start to the race and not able to be up front where he really wants to be.
Yeah, unfortunately for Leitzel. Yeah, well, Leitzel, it's really just been...
He disappeared?
Good question. Where is Logan Leitzel? Or did he pass Quinault and we missed it?
He did pass Quinault, yes.
Okay, so Leitzel did get around Quinault.
You're going the wrong way.
Yeah,
okay,
I was going the wrong
way.
You're confusing me, but he has disappeared from Quinault's view and instead has caught up to Colin Allen. So Allen now dealing with the pressure from Leitzel. Just up the road as Allen gets kicked a little bit sideways. Outside line hasn't worked for anybody, but Leitzel's trying to make it work. It turns to the inside right here, scrubs the finish line jump, and wow. I don't think I've seen anybody make a pass there all night. No, and Leitzel just made it look kind of easy. Yeah,
that inside line he got into so nice after the finish line. Most people have been electing for the second or third line, maybe getting a little bit too much, too bumpy going into the inside, and Leitzel just perfectly apexed it, and he's just looking super smooth right now, working his way through. And hey, late in the moto, sometimes is where you're going to get all your passes. Everyone's a little bit spread out, but mistakes come at the right time, and your hot streak comes at the right time. You can make some passes. So we'll see how far up he can get. I don't know how much room he has until the next rider in front of him, but he's still got a little bit of heat on his tail. But
yeah, he's got Allen right there behind him, and Padani just up the road right here at the top of the hill. Look at that line. Leitzel's around the outside, just rails that rut. And he's catching Padani pretty quickly. I feel like Leitzel might be the fastest rider on the track at the moment.
Yeah, you know what? So Leitzel's using a lot of these outsides. A lot of times early in the race, they're unusable. They're not as fast. Almost got killed in a little miniature Payson Johnson murder line. But those outsides, they're not as as steep as they need to be in the early races or in the early parts of the race. So you can't really use them. But as the track gets broken in, you can finally go back out there and use them because enough people have hit them to create a nice wall to hook onto. Just like that, Logan Leitzel made a couple of nice passes using those outside lines, and yeah, he definitely looks like he's one of the fastest riders on the track here. Only in 6th place, got 12 seconds up to Bryce Whelan. Still got a battle behind him between Padani, Colin Allen,
yeah.
But that kind of fizzles away real quick.
Allen slid out a little bit.
Yeah, not sure if there's anything else up front here. Bryce Whelan went down, had to have right there.
Did he, you think? Oh, yeah, good call. I saw the front end slide, but that is
front end slip, rear end kick real hard. I think
not a rider for position, but Logan Leitzel is suddenly going to be on Bryce Whelan for 5th, 1 second back of the 31 ride, and just tire tapping over the top of the hill right there. Just a little tap at the top of the hill.
Little tippy tapperoo.
So Seth Carr is 3rd, and Matherly has made it all the way up into 2nd. He's 36 seconds off of Balzer in the lead, but comfortably now winning the overall with a 1-2 day here at Thunder Valley. And really, this is playing so well into his hands to have a day like this right now, because with Seth Shirley having a horrendous second moto, Matherly might be in a position to walk away here with the red plate moving into High Point next week. So we'll have to see where it all lands when we're all said and done. We still have about 4 minutes and 2 laps left to go. The battle for 3rd is on your screen right now. 13 and 14 in your program book, but number 3 and 4 on the racetrack, and number 1 and 2 in your heart. It's Seth Carr and Matthias Janis going at it. And let's see which of the District versus Covenant programs can end up on top and make Yamaha proud at the end of the day.
It's going to be fun to see the way they use their line selection here, whether you're inside rut, second rut, or all the way on the outside using a faster line. As we see Janis using around the outside there. Now they both funnel into the inside. it's always kind of fun to see what different riders are more comfortable with kind of hitting around the track, and then who can kind of carry the speed in certain spots. You have different sectors. If you're Lewis Phillips, you love sector times. And sometimes you just really do good in one part of the track, and then you kind of lose it right here. So Seth Carr pulled away right there. We'll see if Janice has his spot where he can work his way back up. And just like that, Seth Carr over the right, and just he doesn't even fall or like wash his front end. He just kind of tips over real quick and then lets Janice go by just like that. So Janice now has to hold it though.
Yep, Janice up into third though, and they're not too far back of Matherly.
Matherly's
just
red boots right there.
Just kind of just barely off screen every time we saw that battle was Matherly. So Matherly could still lose these couple positions, which would be quite hurtful for him when it comes to the championship picture. But at least for now, he is still in second, and we'll see if it stays that way in the closing stages of this one. It is Bryce Whelan in 5th, Johnny Padani in 6th, Logan Leitzel 7th, and then Colin Allen just behind these guys
Padani
in 8th, and Padani down.
Allen and someone else.
Yeah, Colin Allen is down at the top of the hill. He gets plowed into by one of his teammates, I think, who's a lap down. And so Allen, oh God, they're so far ahead of Quinault. Jeez.
So Padani went down and another Cowie.
Yeah, but those, I think that's like Alec Horn, and yeah, I don't know who the other lapper is, but they're both Phil's riders, so we'll keep an eye back there. Whelan lost the spot to Leitzel into the top 5, so Whelan 6th, Padani 7th, Allen in 8th now. I want to see who those Phil's guys are at the top of the screen. It might be Alec Horn and Tanner Rogers, I think. So they were still just kind of like messing with each other. That's Horn right there, and that's Rogers right there.
One lap apart, just a Phil's cluster F with all these guys, Padani, Allen, Horn, and Rogers, all going down pretty much in the same spot.
And Colin Allen just hanging out.
I feel like Balzer is just 37 seconds, dude. I feel like we gotta put some respect on his name.
Absolutely.
Is that Shirley, though?
I was going to say Shirley has made it into the top 10 now. He is 10th, and this is helping his case in terms of trying to retain the red plate. He's going to try to get Quinault for 9th, but I think that's as high as he'll get, as there's a 30-second gap from Quinault to Colin Allen in 8th. So a 9th place finish could be on the cards here for Seth Shirley. We'll see where that places him when it comes to the championship scenarios moving forward, and whether or not Matherly gets past as well, because those guys are still pretty close. Matherly has Carr about 5 seconds back of him. Here's Balzer coming through, and 20 seconds still left on the clock right there. So Balzer is going to have 3 to go right now. And Matherly, Carr, and Janice. Carr is trying to make another run at Matherly for second place here, I feel like.
I mean, yeah, the gap is not that big, and this is 2 of the most excruciating laps that you're going to have on this track. The most beat down it's about to be. Let's see, leader's already by, so we're still going to have, what, 3 full laps left?
I think so, yeah.
30 plus 2, so 3 laps left, so 4 seconds and 3 full laps, 2 minutes and 18-second laps are running.
Oh, is that Matherly down?
He's down, yes, Matherly down. Looks like with a lapper? Or was he after? No, Matherly down all by himself, I think. Looks like the legs were still coming off, so just like that, Matherly drops back into the 3rd place spot. Janice now getting a little bit closer.
I think that changes...
Does that change the
championship picture? No, I think the overall stays the same, but surely it would not be tied with Matherly if I'm reading this correctly. But Shirley is all over Quinault now for 9th. So Shirley's trying to make amends and make another point up, and this is going to be so nip and tuck with the championship picture after this round. Obviously, it's still early in the championship, but we want to know who's holding that red plate going into high point, and it could very well end up being the 2 guys have it. So we'll see if Quinault can keep Shirley behind him, or will the 44 machine slice and dice his way into 9th? Around the outside, Quinault into a lap rider, but a nice save in the end not to go down. And Gerst goes by, but Shirley has made it through. He is now 9th, 42 seconds behind 8th. 34. It wasn't as bad as I thought. So it's Colin Allen in 8th. He is right there with Bryce Whelan, who Whelan just picked it up from a crash, and these guys are crossing over each other now. And this is unbelievable the way that this is working out for the championship picture moving forward, because these guys are going to be so close.
Yeah, I mean, it was already close coming in. It's only 2 rounds in, but man, the way that these guys are able to switch it up. When you got 40-second gaps from 1st to 2nd, and then you got people all over the place. Bryce Whelan goes down, couldn't pick a rut there. was in the second rut. Alan down behind him as well. It's just crazy when you're doing 2 35-minute motos. That's Alec Horn, I think.
Yeah, I think coming from the other lane,
rope,
at the top of the track. Oh, goodness.
It's just crazy that you're doing 2 35-minute motos. You're on the fifth and sixth motos of the year, and you're just trying to keep it together as Allen goes down again. And
Dude,
the
that's
points
gonna be...
just somehow work their way out from, a 1-9, and this guy did a 4-4, and then everyone's just pretty much the same or just as close. It's just crazy to see how close the points can stay for so long, especially in an inconsistent class like this 250 class right now.
Yeah, so Shirley, with all the Colin Allen just went down again. I think Colin Allen just crashed 3 times. So Shirley is going to go see this gap go from 34 seconds down to, I think, about under 10. Well, Allen's already up and going, but I think it's going to be around 10 seconds right through here, 11.4 to be specific. So this is another weird crash for Colin Allen away from Shirley picking up another position, helping out his case. We know the overall is going to Cade Matherly. It's really down to what the championship scenario looks like. But here's Matherly coming out of the first corner. He's back into second place. So Carr must have gone down because Janice and Carr are about 5 and 6 seconds behind Matherly respectively. But they are a long ways off this man with 2 laps to go here at Thunder Valley. Rasmus Balzer absolutely just putting the hammer down in the race lead.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it first moto, can he cure that hangover? And then early on here, man, he's able to put the work in right now, got a great start, and we were like, oh yeah, he battled off the one guy he had to. Yeah, no, he kept battling off everyone. He has settled in. He has completely checked out. This is the easiest race of his life, I am sure, right now. When you're just kind of flowing around an outdoor track, I feel like the time is just passing so slow for him right now, just kind of cruising around. Nothing matters. He has such a big lead. He can do whatever he wants, basically, and still win at this point. Really hope I don't jinx it and you lose a 50-second lead. Please don't do that, Rasmus. But, man, it's got to feel good. After having not the best first moto and maybe a couple rough, first 4 motos of the year, to go out and dominate like this, it's like, why can't I do this every weekend?
Yeah, exactly.
You could. So once you do it once, you know that it's possible, and the door is kind of broken down. That first one's the hardest. So a good start. We're still in the first 25% of the motos so far this year. So going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like exactly it with Balzer here, right? He's probably going to come off the track after this and be like, what the heck? Like, where was everybody?
Yeah,
why was this so
try.
easy? Like, I just did my moto and suddenly I win by 50 seconds. Where was this every other week? 100% that is going to be the sentiment post-race, I feel like, at the 35 camp. So looking through the field, Leitzel has caught up to Janice. I don't know if he just got him and was picking up from a crash or if that was just a weird angle, but he is all over the 14 machine now for 4th place. And Leitzel, man, it just looks like if he could buy a start, he would have the speed to run with our eventual race winners and leaders. But so far, the starts have been atrocious for Leitzel, and it's been the entire story for the one machine through 6 motos.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, maybe we should do a lap time check for some of these guys throughout the top 10 to kind of see where they're at. As far as best lap, you got a 2:16 by Leitzel here. He's worked his way all the way up into 5th. 2:14.8 by Janice, but he's only here in 4th, right in front of him. 2:14.6 by Carr, 16.6 by Matherly, 13.1. So yeah, Balzer has the pace and the hot lap times, but when you see a 2:16, up there, oh, you can't be hitting that tough block off the lip.
And we lose another spot.
Man, Leitzel, if you get a start up there, you can run 2:18s if you're top 3, and you can finish top 3. So,
never mind. I thought Padani was closer than that, but he is not. So Shirley is up in 8th now. He got around Colin Allen, and so 8th spot now for Seth Shirley. He does still have 7th and maybe 6th in front of him for grabs here. Padani's 30 seconds off of 5th, but Padani's only 13 seconds ahead of Shirley. It is the last lap of the race, so that seems pretty unlikely, but you just never really know how it's going to go. And we'll see if anything changes down the stretch here. Matherly pretty much all by himself in 2nd at the late stages of this one. But here it is, final corner. By far the most dominant moto win of the season thus far. Rasmus Balzer wins 250. Moto number 2 at Thunder Valley by 47 seconds at least. It could be more than that. And it will most likely secure him 2nd overall, but the man of the day will be Cade Matherly, and it'll be so close whether or not he leaves here with the championship lead. It'll be his second straight overall victory from 3 rounds to start the year. So it's gone Shirley, Matherly, and it's about to be Matherly again. And it really looks like it's starting to come down to those two in terms of a championship fight as well. They've been consistently the ones scoring quite a good bit of points. Shirley coming from way back in this moto to maybe get 7th or 6th. But it will be Cade Matherly. He wins the first moto. He charges forward after an early crash in the second moto. He'll finish second in this one. But Cade Matherly has won the Thunder Valor National in MX Simulator, his second straight win in MX Simulator 250 class action.
That's just insane to me. 51-second lead.
Ooh, Leitzel's down.
Leitzel down again.
He's going to be
Janice
Padani down.
4th.
Whelan
Padani down. So Whelan's going to make a pass?
Shirley is going to get to Whelan, or Padani as Padani gets going. So Padani has another late crash.
Inside the top 10.
Yeah. Shirley could maybe sneak into 7th on this last lap of the race. He's certainly trying.
Oh, he's pushing.
He is pushing the envelope to this outside line.
As hard as he can.
And a low line. So can Padani get the double jump over line? Yes, he got it and got it clean. Shirley got so close at the end, but is just going to miss out. We'll have to see if penalties factor in. But Shirley will finish up in 8th spot. So Allen looks like he'll get 9th. Gerst 10th, Quinault 11th, and then lap down in 12th. Brandon Nygren, first guy lap down. You got Brett Powers 13th, Luke Fowler 14th, Evan Holt 15th, Austin Schaefer 16th, Braden Tharp 17th, Lucas Brune was 18th. Evan Vanderkoy picks up points. He gets 19th in this one for EvMove. And Tyler Blowers rounds out the top 20 positions. So we'll see if anything affects the front results here after penalties are applied, or if we're seeing it all stay the exact same. So here we go. A couple more riders to finish, and I still got one more to go. A good race here in 250 moto number 2 at Thunder Valley, but just one moto left. 450 moto 2 coming up, and we'll see.
Oh, something did change. 7th place. Shirley got into 7th place.
Oh, look at that. So Shirley gets around Padani for 7th, and I think that gives him the red plate by 1 point over Matherly in that situation. Matherly is still your overall winner on the day, but suddenly this championship fight is a heck of a lot closer than we expected moving into the East Coast rounds, with High Point coming up next week in the 250 championship. Wow, what a round, what a race. Thunder Valley certainly provided all the goods for us. Just looking through the order real quick, looks like 19th Lucas Brune lost a spot there to Evan Vanderkoy. Vanderkoy ends up in 18th, and 20th place stays the same. Tyler Blowers holds onto that position. So a fun night of racing in this 250 class, but we are not done, folks. We still have one more race to go as 450 moto number 2 gets ready to line up and drop the gate here to finish off our evening. We'll jump back in studio with you guys, Kellen Brower and Andrew Wood in the booth, hanging out, having a good time, kicking back. And one more race still to go.
I can't really see you when I'm laid back this far, but that's what's comfortable. I'll try to move over a little bit.
I can still hear you. You're pretty close.
Okay. Man, this 250 class is going to be awesome, I feel like, all year, because there's so much like variety with these guys, and no one's super consistent. I mean, I'm sure we'll see someone break out here, but it feels like early on now, you know, someone can go 8-1, 2-7, like they're going to be all over the place, get a bad start. They don't really know how to work their way back from it. So I feel like it's going to be interesting compared to the maybe tight nature of this 450 class. If we got Leclerc, Carter, and Payson all pretty close, these 250 class feels like it can be anyone's race every time we hit the track. And I feel like that's one of my favorite things, is not knowing who's going to win every time and being able to call something different every time we hit the track.
100%. All we want to see is good racing week in and week out. And what?
Dualies.
And dualies, yes. And dualies. Definitely want to see the dualies. All right. So we are just about ready to get started here for the final moto of the evening, 450 moto number 2. 0 for 11 on the whole shot picks so far. Definitely need to get good. So yeah, whole shot 450 moto number 1. Who did it? It was Carter, right?
It was Carter. I feel like Carter Leclerc is an easy pick.
I mean, I like my Hubbard pick, but I think I'm gonna play it safe. I think I'm going Carter this
If
time.
you go Carter, I'm going Leclerc.
All right, we're gonna go Carter and Leclerc.
It's
trying
gonna
to
be Hubbard.
I know, right? Now Hubbard will get it, or someone like off the wall will get it, and we'll just be like, "What?"
I can't believe Janice got both last time, but I feel like Braden Carter, you got the gate you want. You won the first moto, so let's see. Hopefully you can get it again. That's a safe pick. I feel like us and Leclerc, we got a good solid 50% chance of getting right with those two.
Yeah, I agree. We'll have to see though. Never really know. Alrighty, folks, gather around one more time. 450 Moto 2 coming up at Thunder Valley. Really excited to see this track in person for the first time going this weekend. Flying out tomorrow night and ready to
good weather too.
Huh?
Good weather too. So
no, I think it's raining. I think we're gonna have not necessarily a mutter per se this weekend, but I think it is going to be moist.
Righty. Hopefully they at least. I feel like if it's gonna get muddy, they need to make it super deep.
So right now, current weather in Lakewood, Colorado, 61 degrees, cloudy. Tomorrow there's a 20% chance of rain.
No.
Thursday a 30% chance of rain. Friday a 40% chance of rain, and Saturday also a 40% chance.
That means no rain. You're fine.
All right, if you believe it.
Wet track, sprinkles maybe.
Alex says pick the same person for double pay, double or nothing.
No.
We're still over so far, Alex. We got to break through and get one.
If we get one, then we could start picking Hubbard every time. You know.
Yeah.
He's a Supercross only guy.
Can you imagine if Alex did this with Jet though, like or with 450 Outdoors, and we just pick Jet every time? We'd be rich.
Oh, 100%. I am talking to someone in Arizona about placing a large bet.
I'm gonna be in Colorado this weekend.
Do they have the same?
It's legal.
It was
Colorado.
only like 3 though. Vegas didn't have the thing. It was like Arizona, Maryland, and somewhere else.
Yeah, Colorado's one of them.
We're betting a lot of money on Jet to win. If it's plus 350 again, that's the easiest money ever. I've been off work for 2 weeks. I need some free money.
Free money. All right, I got Carter. You got Leclerc. We'll see if either of us are right and whether or not we finally win the Studio 8 Whole Shot Award Challenge. But here we go, folks. Final race of the night. 450 Moto number 2. Let's go racing. Shall we do a doghouse cam this time, Maywood? What do you think? Are we going to be able to get in time is the real question.
Maybe, but you have to...
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You were locked on someone else.
All right, final 450 Moto of the night. Let's go.
Couple cowies up the inside. I do see a red or orange bike. Let's see who it is.
Who
there
is it?
Is
it Leclerc? I think it's Leclerc. Leclerc with the Studio 8 hole. Yeah. Love to see it. Awood got it right.
Hashtag
it's
easy
Leclerc
money.
and Johnson 1-2. Johnson crosses over into the race lead. He goes. Let's see if Leclerc can use this outside line to fight back. Johnson rips the inside line. Gebhardt moves into second place. Leclerc's going to go to the inside at the bottom of the hill trying to fight back on Gebhardt.
Ooh.
Might get that crossover line. Oh, but Gebhardt gets into the back when it goes down. Leclerc somehow does not fall off the bike, but Gebhardt gets taken out by Leclerc crossing over, doing that same line that Johnson did, and it cost Leclerc and Gebhardt both. So now it is Johnson leading from Eagland early on in this one.
I don't like that move at all by Leclerc. It's so dirty. I mean, it was like Walter, so it's not as bad, but that's just, you can't do that. Like, you can't just run in front of the person at an angle and expect them to stop. Now, Payson's just going to, I mean, let's see what happens here, right? Payson's got some competition here.
Yeah, Eagland's close.
Eagland's close, man. Eagland fought through till the very end at the first moto. McDonald, though, Castaneda, not too much competition behind them. D. Davis in fifth, so it's going to be interesting.
Whoa.
Payson, he wasn't doing good when the track broke down, but he is very fast when the track is smooth. So we'll have to see what happens here as he tries to go out and hot lap, though. Ruts might not hook you in as much as you want to. It's going to be really interesting to see if pushes the boundaries too far and goes down himself here, or what Eagland's going to do. Maybe he can just pull away. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, looks like Johnson just cruising around, trying to establish this early lead over Eagland. And a shout out to Alex Efforts for the $5 donation and always supporting the stream. Studio 8 whole shot award goes to Alexis Leclerc, but he is down bad early a little bit as he got together with Walter Gebhardt. So Johnson leads lap number 1. Eaglin right there in second place. Then it is Chase McDonald ahead of Braden Castellaneta. And then Leclerc coming through inside the top 5. D. Davis 6th, Seabolt 7th, Lang is 8th, Blakely is 9th, and Cavicciuti rounds out the top 10. Sullivan 11th, Ray is 12th, McLaughlin 13th, Brendan 14th, Hubbard, Pachone, Cooper, Robb, Bear. There's Gebhardt, who is down with Leclerc. He's buried. Kyle Boardman, JGMX, Braden Carter, our Moto 1 winner, way back here, outside of the points early on. So this is a really interesting test for Carter. The 2 wins he's had this year, got out front early and pulled away. Can he come through the field this time and try to salvage an overall victory today here at Colorado?
Yeah, last time he scrolled across, saw him in 26th place. Sure, he's gotten a couple more, but man, it's going to be a really long charge up there. You got to think back to Logan Leitzel getting up to around 10th place in that first 250 moto. How far can he come from being back around 30th midway through the first lap? It's definitely a little bit harder with how consistent this 450 class is. So it's going to be interesting to see where we end up in 32 minutes from now. Braden Carter needs to pick and work his way through. Be smart about it though. Don't try to make a pass stick if you can't. These guys are on a whole different speed level as you when you're this far back in the pack. So he's riding really close to this rear wheel right now. It's making me a little bit uncomfortable, but it's going to be interesting. And then we'll definitely see this throughout the year, you know, with a couple bad starts from some of his teammates. There's Hubbard going down, not having a good start to this moto, but we're going to have to see Payson work his way up throughout the series. We're going to have to see Alexis Leclerc do the same thing. So it's going to be interesting to watch each rider and see how fast they can do it themselves.
Yeah, Carter now up to Gebhardt, and you can see just how gnarly it is being buried early in the pack, because you don't get to really choose your own lines. You don't get to feel out the track the way that you want to, because if you leave a door open, someone might pass you. All the while, you're trying to not follow someone in front of you and try to pass them as well. So you can see Carter really working around, trying to find some different lines. And this time up the inside might get Gebhardt as they go into this big triple. Oh, it's so close there with Kyle Robb crossing over, but Carter does get him, and Robb jumps off the track. So Carter, another couple positions. You got Pachone and Jeff Cooper just ahead of him. So Carter up into 16th, making some good early progress, but he's going to need a little bit of help, I think, to get to that front group. We'll see if he does. Look at that. Inside line, 2 for pass right there. Now he's up into 14th. And next up would be J.R. Reyes, who's going down, and he's going to jump right over him into 13th. So now Noah McLaughlin, 12th, just ahead of Carter. Cavicciuti, 11th. You got Blakely in 10th. Sullivan, 9th. Davis, 8th. Seabolt, 7th. Lang, 6th. Castellaneta in 5th, McDonald 4th, Leclerc now all the way up into 3rd. He just got around Chase McDonald and Braden Castellaneta. Eaglin's still in 2nd, and Johnson leading going up the hill the other direction here on lap number 3. So we saw Johnson in the first moto have to come from a little ways back to even get into that lead group battle. Now that he has the early lead, he has a 6-second advantage. We know the laps that he can run. Is this going to be a classic Payson, pull away, lead every lap, dominating type of moto we see out of the one machine usually?
I mean, it depends on which one of his 2 riding styles he's going to do. I think he is smart enough when he does whole shot, lead early, pull away. He can just check out and it's easy, but he needs to ride about 20% less than he normally does, which he's done a million times. That's why he has the number 1 plate. I think that's what he should do. What there's a small chance that we do see is him trying to ride over his head and Payson falling a lot and crashing like he did in that first moto, but he doesn't need to do that. He's already checked out. So I do think we will see him pull away and win this moto here if he just settles in and rides at his 75%. You know, just like we've seen Jet in real life this year, he can do that. He can ride as slow as he needs, or, you know, super slow. He doesn't even need to ride fast, and he can pull away from these guys and win. So he's definitely in the best spot he needs to be on the track right now.
I feel like a couple sections we just watched right there, you would assume maybe Johnson's hanging it out, but all of them looked like weird little kicks. I feel like he's pretty well in control.
To me, it's his suspension. I think we didn't start seeing the mistakes until past 20 minutes in the first moto. Made the comment on how Leclerc and Carter's kind of suspension seemed to settle in there. He just looks super bouncy. It's really hard, and it works, you know, really good in Supercross, but it just didn't seem to work too good in that last moto. So we'll see if anything changes here. I think if he pulls it back 15%, he can just ride still just as fast as anyone on the track, and he can go out and he'll just check out. But if he starts cartwheeling down some hills in about 10 minutes, that wouldn't surprise me either. So I hope he does take the road of I had one bad kind of moto with a lot of crashes, and then I go out in the whole shot and win to keep this championship title race close.
Yeah, I mean, the pace that he's putting down in this early race is pretty remarkable. Eaglin behind him is doing a good job keeping him honest, though. 2:11.4, 2:12.4. So Eaglin was even actually faster last time by than that time for Johnson. 2:10.4, obviously his best lap, so he's moving. And Leclerc's in the 2:11s as well, 2:11.6. So
I'm not far back.
Yeah, as much as Johnson looks like he's ripping and pulling away, this is still pretty close among the top three, where even a little mistake from Johnson pushes him back into Eaglin, and we have a fight on our hands.
I mean, you got to think that every one of those like weird, uncomfortable kicks that you see in one of these ruts from Payson, that's probably 1/10 of a second. So when he does it multiple times around the track, it's not surprising to see that Leclerc and Eaglin went faster than the lap before. So it's going to be, can he settle those out and smooth those out, or are these guys just going to slowly pull him in? And then if they do get on the rear end, does he finally kick into that extra gear? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this race. I hope that Leclerc and Eaglin kind of stay up.
Oh, that's Eaglin down. Yeah, Eaglin down on the right side of the track.
Weird spot to fall too.
I was gonna say, have we seen anybody fall there today? I don't think so.
Adam Holm goes by in third, so good start from him. And right, that was 17?
Yeah, that was. Oh no, it's Castellaneta, and Castellaneta just went down.
12, not 17.
So there is that is Lang going by with Chase McDonald. Now McDonald goes down. So Seabold goes by. And then there is
Castellaneta again.
And who else is that? Sullivan on the 11. So McDonald gets going just as Devin Davis and Carter get there. Carter, jumping out of that rut, has now moved into the top 10, I believe, here with that move. He's actually 9th. So Carter making good inroads. And I don't know why, but this seriously, this 450 class. Oh my gosh,
dude.
And he still passes Davis, who went down anyway. So Carter
just got passed by a guy who fell.
Oh my gosh, he got so lucky. This 450 class, though, it really feels like there's kind of the five, 6 guys maybe that have the speed to win every single time. And somehow, some way, they always find their way to the front. Like Carter was way back there, and he's already 8th, and he's only got really like Chase McDonald and Braden Castellaneta and Luke Sullivan between him and that front group that we expect him to be with. And he's not that far behind them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him in 26 as the second lap was starting. So it's like the fact that he's able to gain that much time. If you easily work your way up inside the top 5, as we see Eaglin down again right there, losing another spot. But we saw this in the Supercross Championship. You go in and you're like, okay, no matter how bad the start is, you fall on the start. You can really only realistically gain 5 points on one person week in and week out. So once that championship gap started to get up to 20 points, it was like they don't really have a chance because the guys are so good, they're only going to get 3rd at the worst. So maybe these guys, it's going to be a 5th overall, like a 4 or 5 overall if you have a bad weekend. So I don't know. I think it's going to be it's going to be very hard for these guys, just like it was in Supercross. Payson, Leclerc, Lang as well, who's had a great start to the season, and Braden Carter to kind of, lose too many points to each other. It's going to be them week in and week out unless something big happens.
Yeah, we'll see how this progresses as we head to the East Coast as well when these tracks change up a little bit. But Castellaneta got around Eaglin with that crash. Sullivan having a much better moto this time around. We expected him to be kind of in this mix. He was 7th in the first moto, but similar to what we're seeing out of Carter, he had to come from pretty far back to get there. And he's got Lang just up the road ahead of him. So our front 2, I should say now, are getting away because Eaglin had gone down and is not in that group anymore. Leclerc just went 2:11.5 to a 2:18.2 out of Johnson. So Johnson had some struggles last time by. I don't know if it was a straight up legs off crash or maybe a couple slide outs, but Leclerc, man, he is not wanting to let the one machine go in this regard. He is keeping him close, wants to beat him in this moto again, wants to get his 2nd overall win of the season and keep that red plate right in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking good after a second or having a 2nd place ride here, but he definitely wants to work his way up. He's sitting there seeing, I just dropped my best lap time 10 minutes into the race. Let's see if I can do it again. There's no reason he can't keep moving forward. Yeah, it's not Payson's best lap, but it's his so far, and with Payson having those big mistakes, it's a lot easier to try to push towards a guy when there's a 4.9 second gap than when there's a 13 second gap like there was pretty much the lap before Payson made a lot of mistakes. Payson is pulling it back out right now, but this is just one tight section of the track. It's going to be interesting to see where this ends up as we start to see these guys' different strengths and weaknesses as we go around the track. Mistake by Leclerc.
Leclerc's making a few too many mistakes, I feel like, for it to work in his favor. I think he's going to need some more help out of Johnson. I don't know if it's just this nature of the racetrack at the moment that Leclerc isn't comfortable on, or what it is that he's just not able to put the same level that Johnson is ahead of him. But Johnson is just inching away. It seems like corner by corner, you're seeing it go up a 10th here, 10th there. And Leclerc also, to me, looks a little fidgety in and out of the ruts. Like, it looks like it's dancing a little bit as he comes out of the corner. You can see the bike kind of hopping around a little bit. So maybe it's just this kind of the stage of the track right now where it's getting notchy. Some of the main lines are getting a little bit more cupped out. Leclerc's not feeling the flow too much with it at the moment.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but he did just drop his fastest lap the lap before, so it normally doesn't change too much lap in, lap out. He's still getting this section pretty smooth around here, but still losing time. So yeah, maybe he's just not as comfortable. Some of these bumps start to get bigger in the ruts, and you see them when they're in the ruts, they're jumping the ruts or the braking bumps like doubles around. They're jumping in, they're trying to oh my God, Payson drops a 209.5 and then goes and absolutely weeds himself, pushing over, trying to go too fast, just like that. Leclerc's by in the lead. That's going to be a 3 or 4 second lead, just like that.
I was just changing to Johnson to see his lap time and switched over just in time to see that front end push over the rut. So now Leclerc assumes the race lead on lap number 7, 13.5 minutes into 450 moto number 2 at Thunder Valley. And that is the change of the overall as well. Johnson was on it with a 4-1 to a 3-2 out of Leclerc. Now Leclerc on a 3-1 to Johnson's 4-2. Of course, Leclerc has the benefit there at the moment. So we'll see if Johnson can put the hammer back down and close in. I have to imagine he has the pace to do it. The question is, will he remain on 2 wheels when he gets there?
Yeah, what was Alexis Leclerc's last lap time?
Let's take a look here. So 2:11.6. So
2:11.6 was 1/10 off of his best, and we were making comments about how many mistakes he was making and how bumpy he looked. It wasn't that he was doing anything worse than what he's ran best in this race so far. It's just that Payson Johnson was running an unbelievably fast lap time and then went ahead and threw it away. So, I mean, Leclerc able to kind of keep the pace. I don't know if Johnson can keep running those 209s, 210s to be able to keep kind of catching up with him without falling. He has to push so much to get that speed.
I mean, he's definitely trying. He is pushing so hard into these inside lines, which we know on this racetrack are a little bit more shallow than the rest of the lines. If you venture out just a little bit more, the RaceFactory Gaming track crew had built those ruts a little bit deeper on purpose, trying to make it so it's not so one line to the inside lines. You can see Johnson going to that second rut right there, a little bit nicer and deeper. Then back to this inside one again, doubling out of that inside line. I mean, he's flying, but he's definitely having to push pretty hard to do it, and right there just cut the track. So this is a little nervous time, I feel like, for Johnson, where the gap isn't coming down maybe as quick as you expected it after picking it up from that crash. Leclerc is still setting a really solid pace in the lead of this race as we've now crested the halfway point. And if you're Johnson, I feel like you expected to catch him a little bit faster in that one single lap. Leclerc has kept the gap almost about as status quo as it was when Johnson picked the bike back up.
Yeah, it kind of went down, yo-yoed throughout that lap time, and then went back up, and then just looking 16 seconds from the leader, then 26 seconds to 3rd and 4th respectively. So it's really just these two, Monty and Manio, up here. Braden Carter is still back in 9th place, not able to make any more progress. So it's going to be these two. What can they do fighting for this overall here? This is basically the battle right here. And then is Payson able to just kind of step it up, keep it consistent? That hasn't been his...
Oh, is that Leclerc down?
I think
that is Leclerc down. Oh, he was down on that really tricky kind of off-camber corner at the bottom of the hill right there. Must have went to the inside and pushed the front end, similar to what we saw out of Johnson. So now they've both had their mistakes, and will we see another one out of either of them? 8-second lead though for Johnson. Still did a 2:21 with a crash. I mean, flying. Yeah, but Leclerc did a 2:10.8. So even though Johnson's 2:09.5 is ridiculous, I mean, Leclerc, I feel like, has kind of stepped it up to the level of Johnson a little bit in terms of pace here.
Yeah, I mean, besides that, I mean, they both made big fall-off mistakes there, but that was just, you know, coming in too hot. Maybe you get a weird kick in those I'd rather see someone fall getting a kick through the braking bumps coming into the corner than kind of throwing it over the rut themselves. It seems like that's kind of your fault compared to just a weird suspension step out that you don't normally get. But yeah, I mean, the gap is not that big, and I mean, each one of these guys can make mistakes. We still have 13 minutes plus 2 laps to go, so that's not going to be the only fall off from any of these guys, I don't think, or at least big mistakes. And we see the gap kind of yo-yoing once again, 9 seconds back to 10, back to inside 9. So we're going to have to see where these guys can kind of find their strengths around this track and keep it moving.
Well, while we have a final momentary lapse there, I guess, in the battle for the lead, let's go through and see where everybody else is. Lang is actually pretty close to Leclerc, and this is another solid day for Lang. It's not going to be the points haul that he's hoping for, the 5-3 scores, but man, if he stays there, he certainly looks like he's got the speed to be in the mix as we move into the middle half of this championship. Seabolt in 4th, better turnaround moto for him and his teammate right there. Luke Sullivan on the 11 machine is rounding out the top 5. Castellaneta is 6th on the Phil's ride with Colby Eagle in 7th. Carter has made it all the way up to 8th. And we'll see whether or not he can continue that progress forward, try to salvage some good points, and maybe still at least match Payson Johnson on the day if he gets all the way to 4th and Johnson wins this moto. But that is not a good line by Carter as he goes flying off the track through the camera well and back on. Retains 8th position, but certainly lost a little bit of time in the process. Chase McDonald is in 9th, and Devin Davis just landed backwards and somehow perfectly faked into a little front slide shove it right there. Into 11th now, though, because Chase Blakely got by for 10th place there, and Davis trying to fight back immediately to the outside. Let's see what happens. Davis cuts back across, not quite close enough, so Blakely does hold on to 10th.
Oh, no. Inverted.
Yep, the inverted relic Honda. Don't know who that was, but...
Pink and black, get out of here, dude. I'm trying to chase down Chase B.
Oh, Gebhardt cuts Davis off and makes that pass, and Blakely was down off the track on the outside, so here's Cooper Hunt coming through. He's going to go to, I think this is, it's 12th place. Never mind, not 11th. So Davis was back in the top 10, but Gebhardt shuffled him back, so it's Hunt 12, Blakely 13, Kyle Robb 14th, Pablo Vial 15th. 2 horrible starts for Vial today. Yeah. 16th for Hubbard, 17th for McLaughlin, 18th Bear, 19th Jeff Cooper, and 20th Anthony Pachone. So just 10 minutes left to go in this race. You can kind of see where all of our point scores are in relation to each other on the racetrack. Still some good battles to be had throughout this mix right here. As you can see, Blakely, lap traffic in the way, going to lose a spot as Rob and Gebhardt both go to the outside and sweep by the 21. And Blakely's going to be none too thrilled about that lap traffic getting in the way.
Yeah, I mean, watching just as we go through these names here, looking at the championship, Cooper Hunt and Vial, 4th and 7th in the championship, we're pretty close, but 2 not so good races so far today. They're probably going to lose off of that top 5 kind of in that championship hunt, as we've seen some of the other guys kind of separate themselves here. Gebhardt, one pretty good moto it seemed like, and then kind of just struggling a little bit here today as well. So, you know, he's got the speed, but just not able to put it together to keep it up super close with these guys. But man, I just feel like there's been so many crashes this track with all the big downhills and all these fast sections with all these bumps. It's definitely one of the harder tracks I feel like to stay consistent, especially throughout the race as it breaks down. One of the hardest tracks on the tour for sure.
Yeah, these guys always on that edge of traction on this racetrack too, because it's so much of this off camber stuff. Like you said earlier in the broadcast, like just this one straightaway by the mechanics area is like the only flat spot on the track. You're always going up or down or sideways or across or rollers or jumps or something. This track has a little bit of everything on it. So Gebhardt making some good progress now, trying to roll back up to Devin Davis. Looks like Leclerc's lost the 2 spot. As we go back up here,
What?
Leclerc has been passed by T-Lang, so not sure what happened to Leclerc.
Like about
27.8 last time by 2 crashes,
maybe 2 fall-offs, yeah,
a third
and 3?
one right there.
Oh,
He's
no.
down again, and Seabolt's going to take advantage to go by
can he
into
get around?
3rd. Ripping that rubber.
Yeah, he did. He went so fast.
Like, doesn't even care that someone's down. So Leclerc's kind of falling apart a little bit here. This is going to have some championship implications. And now instead of Johnson having to deal with any pressure, he's got a huge advantage. And it's Lang who has moved up into 2nd place. Not sure what's going on with Leclerc, but it is coming apart quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Leclerc, it's weird because one thing that I praise him for is how good his bike is and how good he is late in these motos. and just kind of falling apart a lot earlier too. It's almost the best time of the race, between 15 to 20 minutes. Some of these ruts get broken in where they're just like a wall. You could just ride around. But that's where Leclerc has just had his biggest crashes. My biggest struggle was always the last maybe 10 minutes of the race, and we haven't even gotten there yet. So weird to see Leclerc having so many mistakes here this early in the race for him. He's used to excelling late in there. Man, he's lost so much time. You were so close to the lead. Now you're 35 seconds back, with Colby Eaglin only 6 seconds back from you as well. But man, this is going to be huge for the championship implications as well as the overall. Because just like that, that's going to be at least the 5 points that we're going to need from Pace and Johnson, right, to close up that red plate. How did they finish first moto?
Well, the first moto they finished 3-4, so that was a 2-point swing in the favor of Leclerc.
And then Johnson was 5 back, so that would be 7 he would need to make up to tie him for the red plate.
Right now is the case, I think, right? 1 to 4. First to fourth is a 7-point swing.
2.
Yeah, so that's what Jordan Patash in chat is saying right now. If Johnson wins and Leclerc stays 4th, we would have 2 red plates next week at High Point. So that is the current situation as it is unfolding. We still have 7 minutes and 2 laps left to go in this race, but Johnson is certainly in position to win this overall today with a 4-1 score, unless Carter can really get up there and ruffle some feathers. Leclerc is just trying to salvage decent points at the moment, but this is all Johnson's night as it runs, and we'll see if anything changes. Going back to where Carter is, he is 8th now, and still trying to make inroads on the few guys ahead of him, but he needs to get all the way to 3rd if Johnson were to win for Carter to win the overall regardless. And he needs to get 10 more seconds, another 5 seconds ahead of that, 3 seconds ahead of that, and so that he would need about 22 seconds gained, it seems like, to get all the way to Jeremy Seebold in 3rd place. Not impossible, and especially with all the crashing we could have late with how close these battles are getting, it could fall the way of Carter, but it seems unlikely that Carter will walk out of here with the overall win tonight. So back to this battle between Castellaneta and Sullivan, 12 and 11 on the racetrack right here, but this is the battle for 4th, I believe, with Castellaneta holding it down and Sullivan trying to close in. Much better moto for Sullivan, way better moto for Castellaneta, who is 12th in the first one. And just good to see some more guys get in the mix and kind of break up this fast 5-ish group that we always see at the front.
Yeah, this kind of group, Sullivan, when you talk about Sullivan, Hubbard, Adam Holm, who's in 36 right now, but there's kind of a secondary list of guys that you feel like you have your top 3 to 5 in the championship, and then you got another like 5 to 6 that you just kind of throw in there from round to round. Seebold up there, Castellaneta and Sullivan right now just kind of up here inside this top 7, playing spoiler, and they're not up there every week, but it seems like once every 3 to 4 weeks you can guarantee themselves to kind of put themselves inside the top 5 and play spoiler. And it really does make this 450 class a little bit interesting, because if there was like we've seen in real life, this top 3 just 45 seconds away from the rest of the field, it would get very boring very fast. So I do like that there is this kind of like not even B tier. It's like not like your top 1, but like your 1.5. Like you're sitting right in between. You're in and you're out. You're in, you're out. They just don't have the consistency, but they do have the speed. Any random moto or any random main event in Supercross season to get in there and play spoiler, and it's always really good to see them kind of doing it. Sullivan got his first win right so far in the Supercross season earlier, so he won a main event. He was able to get up there and win a race, and now he's able to kind of get up and just play spoiler around in the points championship early on so far in the season. So really good to see him chasing down Castellaneta, and we'll see. I don't know if Braden Carter can do it if these guys keep riding as smooth as they have been. Yeah, they're definitely just putting in the laps, and Carter just went down.
Yeah, he did. So that is going to be McDonald going by into 8th. And Carter, does he stay 9th? No, Cooper Hunt went by. So Carter back to 10th, and all those points that Carter had gained in the first moto to maybe get in the mix of that championship fight between Leclerc and Johnson, he is losing them all right now with this ride in the second moto. Unfortunate, because he was moving early on and then just kind of fell apart. Battle for 3rd about to be brewing. Seebold has it. Leclerc wants it, and the 7 machine would love to be sole possession of the red plate still at High Point and not allow Payson Johnson to start inching his way back into this championship fight. So if Leclerc can get around Seebold, that would be enough at least to keep the red plate solely on his bike. And I think he is fully motivated to make that happen. You can see Seabolt jumping down that hill a little bit better. Leclerc making a mistake, but still Leclerc smooth through that inside line, kept it pretty close. Now Seabolt, this is the best moto we've seen of him this year. Former Supercross champion in the 450 class. No slouch when it comes to racing a 450, but we have not seen this level of speed out of the 10 machine most of this year, including Supercross even. So this is a turnaround ride so far for him, and to deal with the pressure from Leclerc from behind, I'm really keen to see how he handles this pressure.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the number 10 of Seabolt up there is no surprise if you've known watch him race for the last, I don't even know how many years. Just like that, though, he's going to have some trouble up the inside. Looks like he's maybe going to be able to hold it. No, Leclerc's up the inside. They touch wheels, and down goes Seabolt. Barely got touched there, but just wasn't able to lean into the rut there and kind of folds over there. So Seabolt is going to lose the spot, and Leclerc does take back his red plate right there. He's going to have a 2-point lead going over Payson Johnson coming into next round. Will be the solo red plate holder if things stay how they are. Man, that was ballsy. I really didn't think he was going to have the spot, but obviously Leclerc knew he had that scrub under and the speed to get by.
Yeah, I mean, Leclerc, he was alongside of him, and I feel like he went to that inside rut saying, like,
this is
look, look, Jeremy, this is your chance to back out. If you want to go down, you can go down. I mean, it does look a little bit dirty for sure, but if you're Leclerc, you're just like, man, I had a little inside line. I got to go for it. So he went for it, and Seabolt ended up on the deck. So here's Lang still in second place, just kind of cruising around by himself, trying to manage the gap to Leclerc behind him. Doesn't look like he'll have any shot at catching Payson Johnson out front, because Johnson's absolutely moving. 23.5-second lead. Almost, it is 24 seconds now. Even clipping the top of that little wall jump and still just bouncing perfectly down into transition. So 15 seconds were left on the clock as he crosses the line this time by. 3 laps to go. Looks like these guys just continuously are crossing the finish line just barely before time, lap or moto after moto, and we're seeing it again here in 450 moto number 2. Lang, Leclerc, now Eagland and Seabolt set to duel for 4th place. And this should be a good fight between two guys that I believe were teammates at one point, and now they are just rivals on the racetrack battling it out for 4th place. Good turnaround moto for Eagland this time around, coming through the field to get all the way up to 4th. And this is a much better day than we saw at Hangtown out of the Fox Raceway 2, or Fox Raceway Moto 2 winner, I should say. So 2-4 on the day should, I think, even land him on the box. And I think he'll be pretty satisfied with that as a result.
Yeah, I mean, he was up front earlier, wasn't he, in this moto, and had a couple big mistakes, drop back, and it's just crazy to be able to have so many mistakes by your own as well, falling back, crashing, and then to be able to kind of settle yourself down, pull your way back up into the top 5 like these guys are right now. It's another level of skill and speed that these guys have. We're 30 minutes into the race right now. They're a minute off the lead, but they don't care. They're just slowly working their way forward, watching that pit board and kind of going through. Oh, Eagland goes a little bit wide.
He had a magnet on that guy.
Yeah, he just kept getting stuck. Little front wheel action getting in there. So Seabolt's going to go by and get that pass easily. Doesn't even have to make anything happen. Just rides on the track and smoothly up in there. So now he's going to be past Eagland. I don't know how close McDonald is behind Eagland. Or Castaneda.
They're pretty far.
McDonald, yeah, they're far, but I thought he was close. McDonald's having a great ride though, by the way. Maybe I just saw his name behind Carter and I thought he was in like 3rd because that's what Brady normally does. But great ride by Chase. He's been racing forever too. This 450 class, it seems like 99% of the people have been racing for 8 years now. So
yeah, I mean, it's weird because you would think it feels like that. But, like, you really go back to it, Carter didn't start until, I think, 2018. We were both, like, well over the hill. And then Johnson, I don't think, debuted till 2019.
No, Johnson's new. Maybe it's like, let's see as they go by. Sullivan's been around for a while.
Pretty new-ish,
so. Forever. Leclerc, 20 old. Well, 13.
20 old.
20 old. Seabolt, forever. Eagland, yeah, 250 forever. I guess some of these guys, yeah, they're newer, but... Maybe it's just Chase McDonald. I feel like he's been racing forever. So, D. Davis. All-time starts leader. Chase B still ripping week in, week out. Walter disappeared for 10 years, seems like, and he's back.
I think D. Davis's all-time points leader too, like scored more points than anybody else, which is what happens when you start more
When you
motos than
race,
anybody
yeah.
else. But that's still pretty impressive because you have to
Let's face it,
score
top
pretty
10
good points.
most points. Yeah.
So.
I need to go in that thread on the forums that has all the stats where it shows our one moto wins.
Oh, Leclerc front end tuck and down.
Oh,
So
no,
that's going to be
Seabolt.
Seabolt and Eaglin are both going to be coming up the hill as Leclerc gets going, and Seabolt's going to be right on the 7. So that is going to be the battle for 3rd place before long. Tyler Lang still he's closer to Johnson than he was. I think he's only about 11 seconds back. Yeah, so Johnson just picked up from a crash because now it's down to just 12.9 seconds, and it was 23. So Lang making a little last-ditch effort at trying to win this thing. 2-lap board did come out this time by. We're at the 32-minute mark of the moto. So 1 lap to go next time by. And this little battle still continuing to just fester but not really develop. I feel like Seabolt doesn't quite have the pace to run with Leclerc, and that Eaglin does maybe have the pace to catch Seabolt, but just can't quite get to him. There's just enough gap between all of them.
Yeah, it's crazy to watch these top guys. Some of these ruts, you can see they're just clicking gears and they just rail around them. They kind of settle in because the ruts have gotten so deep and so big. There's like a wall that they can just stick on. And then some of the ones, they've got bumps so deep that they're super sketchy. And so it's cool to see when they kind of settle into a groove where you're riding that top edge of the rut with no bumps, and they're just railing around like they're just holding 4th wide around the wall, and they don't really have anything going on. And saw a couple of that through the switchback section. Seabolt now kind of settling into a little bit of a smoother line, and he's got and settling into that bump, and then the SpongeBob later.
Where is Eaglin? Must have went down because he was right on him, and now it's not even going to get him, even though he went down. Then Castellaneta, Sullivan, Carter, McDonald, and Hunt inside of the top 10. Blakely, Davis, Hubbard, Hall, Gebhardt, Cavacciuti, Bear, McLaughlin, Cooper, Pachone. Reno Brendan not too far behind Pachone. Not really a lot of battles going on in this moto. I feel like it definitely opened up. This is what happens when the champ gets a lead, pulls it out, and looks like he's on his way to quite an easy second 450 moto victory, and finally another overall win. He's already won the Fox Raceway National earlier this year. Leclerc won at Hangtown. Johnson going to fire back and win, looks like tonight here at Thunder Valley, but man, I think it was an 8th in Moto 2 at Hangtown. That is really going to hurt Johnson when it comes to this championship fight, because it looks like Leclerc will retain the red plate. At least if you're Johnson, this is the kind of moto you were looking for, finally, to just ride like you know how, get a lead, pull away, cruise, lead every lap, and feel like the old Payson Johnson in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get those starts and you settle in, he settled into the pace of, yeah, he went fast a couple laps, right? We saw him go very fast and then fall. And I think he realized, okay, like, I'll just go a second and a half slower, and that's what I can do. And he looks great on the track right now. He's one of the guys that is able to just rail around as hard as he wants on some of these ruts. Just jumping into him. Look at that. He never has to let off. He's so smooth, so good. But when he gets in the pressure early on in that first moto, that's where he starts to make mistakes, because he's pushing to catch someone. It's different, like trying to throw a fast lap down by yourself and trying to throw a fast lap down with the pressure of catching someone for points. So, I mean, he's ridden great, and you can't knock him at all for this second moto performance. It's just you got to clean up that second moto last week and your first moto a little bit here today.
Yeah, as Johnson crosses the finish line to win the Thunder Valley National and immediately disconnects, so he is done for the night. Tyler Lang is going to come through. He will finish up second in this moto, and I think it will be 3rd overall if Leclerc retains this 3rd place, because Leclerc is going to go 3-3, and well, actually no, Lang just went 4. No, he went 5-2. Excuse me, I apologize. I was thinking of Johnson's first moto score. Anyway, Lang is going to go, or Leclerc is going to go 3-3, which should be enough in this one for 2nd overall. And then I believe that 5-2 will just beat out Carter's 1-9 at the moment for Lang to round out the podium here tonight. Seabolt down. Eaglin is going to get him through. Well, he's swapping through a little bit. Late. And actually, Eaglin is going to go 2-4.
Wow.
And steal that away from Lang. They would have tied, but Seabold threw it away at the flag, so I believe Eagland will most certainly end up on the podium then. Castellaneta just ahead of Sullivan coming down here, and Carter, man, he tried to close this gap down. He is 8th. So I don't know the math-wise if a 1.8 or a 2.4 is better. I think 2.4 is better by 1 point, I think. 2.4 is 40 points, and Carter going 1.8 is 25 and 13, so I guess it would only be 38 points, so it's better by 2 points, but Carter should end up 5th overall, I think, with a 1.8. Not going to be thrilled with that. Cooper Hunt looks like he's got 9th locked down, and Chase McDonald will round out the top 10. Blakely 11th, Hubbard 12th. He's got Hall right behind him coming to the flag, so this is a battle for 12th, and Hall goes down. And then D. Davis 14th, the last guy on the lead lap, just cruising around, whipping it, having a good time.
Solid 14th place. I mean, staying in points, not getting lapped, that's pretty impressive, especially when Payson's doing that. You're leading the lead first, second, and third place by 17, then another 20 seconds right there. Like, with the leads these guys have, I'm surprised there's not more people that have been lapped, even with a 2+ minute track. But man, Payson just went out there and kind of dominated everyone. So that second moto, which got the early start, and man, Braden just not able to, really disappointed in that ride. You know, I mean, I'm sure he is as well. You know, you want to, even if you don't get a good start, you want to move up a little bit more than that, and just kind of not able to make it work. Had some fastest lap times, or had a very fastest lap times, second fastest in the race, it looks like, but it's not good enough, you know, when you only ended up 8th place and losing that many points to a hard championship rival like Payson.
Yep. So if you're Carter, definitely going to kick yourself after a night like this, even though that first moto win was awesome. Johnson becomes the second 2-time moto winner of the year. Him and Carter both now have 2 moto victories. Johnson also becomes the first 2-time winner of the year. His second overall win of the year to Leclerc's 1, which was at Hangtown. And Johnson will retain it after penalties have been applied. Looking through the top 10, it all stayed the same. 78, 21, 39, 55, 284, 338, 83, 47, 63 of Jeff Cooper, and 70 of Pachone. Everybody stayed the same in the top 20, so that is all of our points paying positions, as Payson Johnson has won the Thunder Valley National, but Leclerc will retain the red plate. And now, rolling to Hangtown next week. Back in studio with you guys, Kellen Brower and Andrew Wood. Wrapping it up here tonight. Well, Johnson wins that 250 class. We got Balzer winning that second moto. Matherly getting his second straight win. Championship fights tightened up at least, right? So that's what we get to look forward to as we head east to High Point next week. We got closer title fights, and we also have kind of those more rutted out, gnarly tracks that we expect on the East Coast coming up.
Yeah, I mean, more off-camber turns, more ruts. This is, you know, the first of many very rutted tracks with some hills and some elevation. So going to be really difficult for these guys. And I was expecting this championship gaps to maybe expand a little bit, and to see them kind of tighten up is very fun for the series, and going to be really interesting to see what happens week in and week out here. Hopefully this will stay really tight throughout the year. And just like Supercross, man, you never know what can happen. One big bad race from one of these guys can ruin everything. So hope that these guys keep it close until the end, and we can be here commentating it until the end of the season.
That's right. We still have 8 more rounds of this RaceFactory Gaming National Championship here to go. But just one more round before our first break. We have High Point next week, and then we have a week off between High Point and Redbud. So keep on the lookout for that. We will be back here same time, same place next week for the High Point National, and then that week off after that. So this has been round 3 of the 2023 RaceFactory Gaming National Championship in MX Simulator. Shout out, of course, to RaceFactory, the RaceFactory Gaming track crew for putting it on, and of course all the people behind the scenes at Start Your Systems that always help us out. Evan Holt always doing some great work. Ethan Parks, Alex Heckman, Todd Gutierrez, Zach Dupuis, whose birthday it was yesterday, Nathan Zaworski, whose birthday it is tomorrow. Shout out to those guys. And thanks for all the support, as well as you, Andrew Wood, for always coming down every week, and glad to have you back. Good to see you in the captain's chair over there again, and hopefully the back is feeling better.
A little bit better. I'm the captain now. I'm a little sore, but it's good. We're here, and hopefully we'll be here every week if we can make it.
Right on. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week for the High Point National, but for now, we're going to send you guys on your way, and we hope you guys enjoyed round 3 of the RaceFactory Gaming National Championship here from Thunder Valley. We out. We'll see you guys later.